Champions, take two. Oop. Need the blinding light. Here we go. Meet Luke, the local pest. He's been coming in to bother me while I'm working and bringing in his projects and letting me check him out and see what he's done. I get a lot of people coming in asking for, oh, can I have a job? But they never can look you in the eyes and they just, what are you working on? Have you got any projects? They're like, no. Whereas he came in with the guitar he was working on and said, how did I do? What do you reckon? And I thought that showed a bit of initiative and that was good. So he's been, where'd you get this one?
My neighbour's skip bin.
Neighbour's skip bin, yeah. That's the way. So he's been practicing on guitars, unlike some other techs who practice on their customers' guitars. He's working on some stuff that he's found and he's seeing how good he can make it. So what's this? This is a Econ Strat. Never heard of it. But yeah, we're going to put it together and he's going to do some wiring. He's been doing some fret work. You see here, that's like duct tape, so probably use masking tape in the future. So it's just like this stuff here. And just this stuff if you go to buff it with the Dremel, the little rotary machine, it'll probably melt because of the friction. So I use one of them for polishing. You might have... Oh, have you?
Dad doesn't let me use it.
All right. That'll change. Just keep trying. Just use. It's easier to use it and then apologise later than ask for permission. So when you're buffing it, you might melt the tape a bit, whereas this stuff's paper, so it would eventually burn, but generally it's not unless you sit in one spot for ages. So yeah, he's learning to do the electronic stuff as well as the fret work and whatever. So his previous guitar, that was your dad's guitar, wasn't it? So he found it. What did your dad have it in storage or?
It was just in its case.
In its case.
It was in my room though.
Yeah, okay. So you claimed it. So he did some fret work. I said these frets are a little bit uneven and some are lifting a little bit. Just a sound check. Can you hear Luke all right, everyone? Just let us know in the comments. So some of the frets were slightly lifting and you can hear that. I think I've showed it on stream before with the little art knife. You sort of see that's nice and firmly seated fret because you, in addition to looking closely, but a quick check. Do it with the right hand, a bit more accurate. So you can hear the end of that one's a little bit dull. But all in all, these for a cheapy guitar, these are pretty well seated frets.
So they give him a bit of a smack.
Yeah, you gave him a smack. Gave him what for? That one there, a little bit of a dull thud there instead of a sharp tap. Sometimes on the ends you get that, but overall you could probably get away with that, considering like how much the thing's worth. It's a pretty pretty decently fretted neck, so that's cool. Because there's no point doing fret work when the frets are lifting, because what happens is you'll stone them, or that's what I used to call it, but you'll hone them, and the ones that are not properly seated will dip down when the hone passes over them, and then they'll pop back up again afterwards, so they'll still remain high, and you'll just keep sanding and sanding and sanding, and you'll wear down the frets unnecessarily when you could just seat that single fret and only take a fraction off all of them. So yeah, the other guitar he had, some of the frets were lifting, but I said, look, do a bit of practice, do some crowning, get to know the process, and then we'll pull all the frets out and we'll refret it from scratch. Just get as much practice out of that guitar neck as we can. Hi Brad, hi Luke, hi chat, hi Shane, how you going, champ? Everyone's chatting. When my old man was doing his time in the late 70s, the older blokes would lock the apprentice in the boot of the customers' cars and rip them around the parking lot by the riverbank. Well, it's not the 70s anymore. They're lucky Jims, so thank God for that. So what we're going to do at the moment, we're going to just probably just get Luke to touch up his wiring. We've got some screws here. that will fit those pickups. They're sort of like your or your standard sort of self-tapping screws. So we'll pop some screws, and we might put some silicon tubing on there as the springs. They're just cheapy ceramics. We'll clean up this wiring. There's some melted wire there, so we'll pop some heat shrink over that. Now he's been having some trouble with his soldering iron getting the solder to basically wet to the back of the pot casing. So I just want to show him with the right soldering iron and with the right solder how easy it actually is. So what I might do, I might just do a few solder joints on here and then just sort of show him how to establish those joints, and then let him carry on and finish off the wiring job. We'll probably dress these wires a bit neater so they come straight off. And because in some strats, not this one in particular, because that's got the big boat cutout, and some of them have the individual cutouts for the individual pickups, and then just a little channel between them. So you want to sort of just get into the habit of wiring your pickup wires like that. So when you do encounter one with that 3 different pickup routes, it'll sit in that nicely.
The other one had that.
Yeah. So you can get away with cable ties. Fender literally just use masking tape around it, but I like to put a little bit of heat shrink on there just to keep it nice and neat and tidy. We'll check the performance of that switch. They are pretty dodgy switches, but if they work, they work. And we'll give the contacts a bit of a lube and all of that. But first off, we'll just get him used to soldering to a pot casing. So I might just get a scrap bit of wire. I'll remove what's on there, and then just show him how it sort of works when you've got the right iron and the right solder. Now the framing's going to be a bit fun on this one because we're sitting and standing and whatever. But anyway, not going to win any awards for my cinematography. Oop. So we'll get some new solder on there just to get the flux out of it. So was this solder that you used, the stuff that I gave you? That stuff?
No, I ran out for this one, but I used it for the rest.
Oh, okay, right. So that might have no flux in it, which is probably why it looks pretty crusty.
Yeah.
Where's the end? God damn. There it is. Exciting television, I know. Old Panny Boy's looking a bit dull. I might change it off auto ISO. Take it up to 800. That looks a bit brighter. Well, so just looking up close, this is sort of, I'll just get into the habit of putting something under the pick guard too, just so it doesn't scratch the body. So I like these little lint-free dusting things because they've got a bit of sponginess to them. Might stick the BOFA on for this. A bit stinky. Alright, so see how that flows? It sort of forms a shiny pool rather than a crusty chunk. So this is my fancy vacuum desoldering tool, but the one that I suggested that you get, actually what I might do is just turn on the noise suppression, because that would be pretty annoying. There we go. Alright. So that's the high-tech version with the vacuum pump. But you can get these ones as well, which are just like pump action. This is my one, the Goot, what is it? Goot DS-100. You just sort of push it in, and when you press a button, it's got a plunger. Yeah, you pretty much always want to throw some new solder on there, just to get the flux out of it, primarily. And then burn your finger.
Burnt my table.
Burnt your table, did you?
It was a plastic folding table.
Oh yeah.
And then you put a hole through it.
Well, that's all right. My man Lyle here, he still works on one of them, and he's a professional amp tech. So, Panny Boy, focus for me. Might just lock that focus for a minute. Is that easy? No. Too hard. Never quite gets all of it. I think you get the majority. Oop. You get most of it with the pump, and then finish it off with the braid. That's this stuff here. So this just acts like, they call it a braid or a wick. Yeah, it just sort of soaks up the last bit. You it's got flux in it, which helps it absorb the solder. You sort of have to heat it up and the workpiece at the same time. A little bit loose there, so it's a bit fiddly. The pot's trying to spin away from us. Alright, so it looks pretty horrible. But we'll clean it up with a bit of alcohol. You can see there you got blobs of solder that are touching the contacts. So that would be shorting to the pot casing, so you'd have no signal. Because that'd be like a dead short to ground. So we'll have to clean all that up. Yep, that's cleared that one. The pot may have been damaged by all of this, but we'll find out the hard way. Which is what learning's all about, eh? Alright, cleared that one. Manual focus. There we go. Sorry, just playing with my camera. Just lock the focus. So let's redo this. You see that wire's only hanging on by a few strands. What can cause that is if you're a bit misaligned with your wire strippers, or if you go to too small a setting for the given wire gauge. So since that's pretty short, we might just replace that one.
I don't think I did that.
No, it's probably from the factory. But
Yeah.
There's probably a few people who probably already had a go at this as well, you know. Old guitars, it's always the way. But we'll clean up the rest of those terminals just to see if the pot's recoverable. Alright, so again, still looks pretty horrible, but we'll give that a clean with cotton bud and some alcohol. You'll be surprised how good they come up once you do that. Again, we've got no idea if this pot's going to be viable. Could have cracked a cracked wafer or contamination or something like that, but often with old guitars, it's easier to just strip everything and just cut everything and then start from scratch. That way, you know, you're not second guessing anything then, because if you go, oh, that joint's probably all right, and then you test it, and then you're chasing a problem later on, you're always second guessing the existing work.
Yeah.
If you just dig in and do it all yourself, you got more confidence that everything's going to be good. Who wired this? Asks Scotty. Well, some factory, some Luke's first attempt, second attempt.
First from this one.
First on this one,
That's
right?
for the second.
Right. Alright, so what I like to do is we've got to establish that ground there because that's when the pot's turned all the way down. So that's the ground going to one side of the pot. So when it's turned down, all the signals cut out, basically. So I like to just leave that one there and then just do some other ones for the pickup. You see how that flows?
Yeah.
It's like a nice shiny puddle. And I like to do one to the side of the pot to connect all the pots together, just so you're not relying on that thin foil. You can see that's what that one was for from the factory. Re-establish that one. Now, because these are all spinning, they haven't got any lock washers on them. Let's turn off BOFA for a minute. So you want to install some, I'm assuming 8mm lock washers. An easy way to get the knob, remove the knob from the pot is 2 spoons, bro. Just go root. If you can get them under there. Sometimes it's too close to the pick guard. Oop. Yeah, it helps if you've got any nuts on there. You want to just grab... Oh, I'll get it. I know where everything is. Alright, so M8 lock washers. That's these little buggers. What they do is they bite into both surfaces and stop them from spinning. So you put them on the pot. It sort of bites in a little bit to the face of the pot, and it also bites into the back of the pick guard.
Yeah.
So that stops it from spinning once you tighten the nut. So then a lot of the damage to wiring is caused by the hardware not fixing the pot in place, so it's free to spin.
Yeah.
And then it breaks wires or stuff shorts out on other stuff, that kind of thing. So we might have to go digging for some nuts for those ones. I've got a few in this random container here. Nope, too big. Nope, too small. Fun. And you've got metric and imperial, so you've got like inch standard as well as millimeters, so that makes it fun. Generally all the like beginners guitars and stuff will be from China, so they'll be metric, but the American stuff will all be imperial, which is inch standard. So that makes things fun, particularly when you've got a mix of bits and pieces that various people have done over the years, so everything's sort of hodgepodge. Washers. Don't know if I don't think we're going to fit a washer on that because the bushing's not long enough, so you might have to just go the nut directly. I don't like doing that, but when that's the only option, that's what you got to do. The Fender ones I think come from the factory without a flat washer on there, so the important part's the lock washer. Alright, so we want to tighten them, but we don't want the pot to spin while we're tightening it. Metric, probably 11mm. That's the one. Just got these tube sockets here. You can just use them by themselves most of the time. They've got a little bit of grip on them. But yeah, we'll just use it with the handle. Sort of hold it like that and just hold the pot because it tries to spin until you get a lot of pressure on it, and then the lock washer kicks in. Alright, that's all secure. I'm sick of those pickups flopping around, so let's sort that first. Where's my silicon tubing gone? Damn it. So this is what you spend most of your workday doing, looking for shit and swearing at not being able to find shit. I had a roll of this stuff, but I don't know where I'll put it. Order some more. Oh, there it is. Ha! Didn't put it back in the right spot as always. So some screws. Up here we've got some pickup height screws. So these are a strange imperial thread, which is even used on the Asian guitars. Probably because it bites into the plastic. I went Kiwi there for a minute. Bites into the plastic, bro. So what have we got missing? Two. We need two. Yeah, it does look like it might be Korean there, Scotty. Watching you do that reminded me I've got to swap some pickups today. There you go. How'd you get that name, mate? Oh, don't read the profile names. Alright, so I like to use the silicon rubber. Fender used like a natural rubber, a brown stuff, and it degrades over time and it sort of breaks down. This stuff will be good in 2,000 years. Probably not a great thing actually for the environment, but good for our purposes. So you get this, back in the day, all the radio control cars used to use petrol or like a nitromethane, and they used this as the fuel line to go from the fuel tank to the carby. But these days, with all RCs being battery powered, it's getting harder to find, so you got to buy it online on eBay or whatever. But you used to find the stuff at all our hobby stores because everyone had petrol powered or fuel powered RCs. It's YouTube rolling out this stupid channel names. Oh, it's YouTube rolling out stupid channel names in chats. I think it just, Scotty, it shows their profile name, whereas it used to show their handle. I don't know what's changed there, but yeah, like I ranted on the last episode, I'm sick of YouTube changing stuff for the worst all the time. Every time they change something, they make it worse. Ooh, that's a bit of a tight fit. They might be weird screws. They look right though, don't they? Yeah, they're the right screw. Might just be a bit firm through the pick guard there. Alright, so yeah, what I'll do is I'll just back off the pick up entirely, because the silicon tubing holds the screw in place. Normally the hole's got more clearance than that and they can just fall out, but if you pop that on there, now they hold captive. You can just and it works like a spring. Now if you're using actual springs, it's not so much an issue if you're not using crazy gain, if you're just playing rock and blues, but the metal heads, they have so much distortion and so much gain on their signal that anything resonating in the guitar will come out through the amp. So you'll hear, if you use an actual metal spring, you can often hear that resonating through the speakers.
Yes.
So
Don't people do that with the springs in the back?
yeah, they'll put a bit of foam or something in there.
Yeah.
So using the silicon rubber obviously gets rid of that because it's like a little shock absorber. But yeah, my humbucker does that. I've got to do something about that because every time I play a high gain amp, it feeds back. Go Luke, you'll learn a ton from Brad, the Webster Audio Electronics Dictionary. I don't know about that, Terry. Terry's another repairer. I've got to fly out and knock over a keg of beer with some wrap bags. You do that, buddy. It sounds like fun. Got to fly out. What, are you going interstate? I like my extra reverb. Yeah, Scotty likes his free reverb of the pickup springs. Alright, so we'll get these installed, and then I'll maybe let you have a play with the soldering iron and just get a feel for it. And the controlled temperature and the good solder and blah blah blah.
Like, am I wiring it? Or...
Yeah. Maybe de-wire it and rewire it, I reckon. So I'll show you how to remove the wire and then clean up the contacts and get it ready for new wire. Because often so many guitar jobs, people have had a few goes at it, and often it's just, like I say, it's easier to just pull everything out and start afresh. Half the time you're replacing a couple of pots and stuff in the process, so yeah, just pull it all out and start again, basically. Some amps are like that too, but that's a different story. For some reason, I think because guitars don't have any high voltage in them or anything, and you know they're not super complex, people feel pretty happy to try it out themselves, but often, you know, there's a little bit more to it than they realize, so they can make a bit of a mess of it from time to time. So most of the rewiring jobs are just cleaning up other people's stuff, which is cool. I'm happy to do that. All right, well that worked. So let's dress the wire first. So just to do that, obviously you've got to cut one end to get the heat shrink on there. So we'll do that now. That's all your live wires. Now, to reduce the noise a bit that it picks up from the surrounding atmosphere, you know, buzz and hum and stuff, ideally you'd have what we call shielded wire, which is, have I got a bit nearby? Yeah, here we go. So that's got an inner conductor. If you have a look at the stuff up close, it's called coax because it's coaxial. You've got two conductors that share the same axis. So when you peel it, you've got the outer conductor, which is like a shield. This one's a bit annoying because it's braided, so you've got to sort of undo it, unpick it. I might just cut it short a bit because it's easier to show you. Alright, so there's the braid. It's like woven copper, tiny copper wires. You peel that back. Oh, $22. Thanks, Colby Jack. Thank you for helping, Luke. He's super lucky to have a smart, kind, gracious kid. Hey, you settle down, buddy. Don't say too many nice things. I might get a big head. It's already big enough how it is. Alright, so you peel back the outer shield. A little bit tricky. So that's a nice quality cable because it's braided. The cheaper stuff tends to be what we call spiral. So it's just literally going around sort of like that. And that's a lot easier to peel, but it's also lower quality. The braided stuff's really nice, but a little bit more difficult to prepare. So that's the ground. That's like your shield. And then that's what carries the signal. Now, because it's in the shield, it's literally called a shield because it blocks out the interference. Right. So some pickups you'll see that comes as standard. It'll have one of them coming out. The more traditional pickups, because back in the day, the vintage guitars and that, they didn't have massive high gain amps back then, so the noise wasn't really an issue. So what you can do, sort of meet them halfway, you just twist them, and that gives you some degree of noise reduction. It's probably like 25% of what you get if you had an actual coaxial wire, but we're not going to go rewiring all the pickups, so we'll just do this. What you can do in old Strats, more traditional style guitars, is instead of shielding the actual wire, you can shield the cavities. So you can use, yeah, you've probably seen that. Yeah, so you can use like copper foil. this carbon conductive paint. You can paint the inside of it as well, and then just make sure that's grounded. You'll see a lot of US fenders, there'll be like a little eyelet with a wire, and it seems dumb because it's just screwed to the timber, but what it's actually screwed to is the conductive paint, and it's the black paint that's on the inside of the cavity. And that, as well as that's what the foil's there for on the back, just gives you a little bit of shielding. The US fenders, some of them have like the whole back shielded, or the older ones, they've got a really thin aluminium plate, which is the same shape as the pick guard, but just like 2mm smaller, so you don't see it from the edge, and it's thin enough that you don't really notice it's there once it's screwed down. And that does the same thing. It sort of blocks out all the interference. Back in the day, in the 60s and whatever, the interference wasn't as big an issue, but these days we've got all sorts of things throwing off all sorts of noise. These lights throw off a ton of noise when you're working on an amp, and you've got the oscilloscope running, and you're testing, basically finding where the signal cuts out or whatever, or just configuring an amp. You have this one on and it shows all sorts of horrible stuff, and then you turn it off and it all goes away. So if you have a look here with the probe, and we go to channel 1, you see all the horrible stuff happening the closer you get to that light. And then you move it away and it goes away. Yeah, pretty terrible. And that's the signal coming out from that light. Yeah. Yeah, that's the stuff your guitar picks up if it's not shielded. And that sounds horrible. Probably from Samick factory. No, Chinese use CNC machines. Looks Korean for sure. Yeah, I don't think it was a CNC, Scotty. I think this is probably a pin router, overhead router, because you can see the irregularities there where they're really pumping them out. There's probably a chunk taken out of the template in that spot, but they didn't care because it still did the job, so they just kept using it. And down here, some irregularities to the cutout here. So the way a pin router works, you can see the multiple passes down there too, because it'll have two different templates, one for that cutout, and you can see there where they've plunged too deep. There's a little circular cut, so that's the router. The router bits are sort of like glorified drill bits, but with different angles to the flutes and different materials that they're made out of. You can see they hurried a bit in that spot, so they didn't properly hog out that area, and there's a little island there as well. So yeah, definitely an overhead router. The guys are going deep in what this guitar is. Depends how old it is. That 4-arm bevel screams 80s, yeah, because it's very small. See how small it is? Yeah. On this Strat, it's like a nice gradual angle. But that would have been a lot easier for them to make at the factory, because they would have probably just got a hand plane and just gone and then just rounded it off with probably an overhead belt sander too.
It was my neighbor's son's.
Yep.
When he was a kid, and now he's like 30.
30, right. What an old bastard. Well, 30, bloody hell.
Sorry. So, I don't think it'd be that old.
Nah, it's probably early 90s, I'd say. Yeah, being plywood. This is the kind of ones they always had at the schools too. Very common. So because there's a bit of a melt in that wire, we could replace that wire, but I might just pop a bit of heat shrink over there. So you can't see, that's just where the wire's soldered. So worst case, you can desolder it there and put a new wire on, and just, you can see it does a little U-turn. See that? So if you heat that up, the only reason I'm hesitant is because that's plastic. So we could possibly melt the plastic if you're reworking it. The traditional Fender ones were made out of like a fiberboard, which was like an overcooked paper, essentially, like a thick cardboard. And that's the same stuff they used in their amps. I'll show you what this stuff looks like. That's one of their amps. It's sort of that stuff. But you can't melt that stuff. It's vulcanized fiberboard, they call it. So it's got like additives and resins in it. Then they essentially overcook it like MDF sort of. So that's what they call flat work. So with your average traditional pickup, there's a top and a bottom piece. Actually, I might have a pickup there I can show you. Yeah, I'll just dump that back there. Back in the day, I wound a few of my own pickups just for fun. These days, it's just cheaper to buy them off the shelf. There you go. I put that box down there because I never really need it, and that's twice today that I've needed it. Yeah, that's right. So this is my mate Six, Dr. Gear. He's got a shop out at Newtown, does repair as well. It was originally designed for luggage. They made suitcases out of it back in the day. So here's a pickup I made years ago. That's like a what 7.6K reverse wound, so you could use that as a middle pickup in a Strat. And essentially, I actually pressed them and everything. So I had the flat work was off the shelf, so they call that flat work, the top and the bottom. You just get them as individual pieces. These are the magnets. They're Alnico. Alnico means oh god, aluminium, nickel, and cobalt additives. Alnico, yeah. Old Japanese Korean made switch. Yeah, with big flat brass contacts. Yeah, that's that one. So yeah, you got the different heights for your different string thicknesses. So that's what they call staggering. And you basically you make up a jig. They're all flush on this side. You put a spacer between the two flatwork pieces, and then you press the magnets in. They're not magnets at the time you press them. It's just the metal. You wind the pickup, you put it in the pickup winder, you count the coils. The pickup winder itself actually counts the amount of turns. And once you've hit the turns, you just check your resistance, see that it's on par with what you expect, and there's no breaks in the cable, in the wire. And then you magnetize them. So you wax dip them as well. So dipping them in wax, you can't really tell that I've done it, but I have. It fills all the gaps and makes it so the coil can't move, because then it acts like a microphone and it picks up all the tapping, all the string noise, but more importantly, it feeds back through your amp, so you get that squealy sound. Yeah. So yeah, you dip it. That also locks out the moisture a bit as well. Once you've dipped it in the wax and the bubbles stop coming out, you know all the air's left the coil, and then you magnetize it. So I used to use 2 rare earth magnets on a bench vise, and you just pass it through once, check it with the little meter. It's a Gaussometer. It tells you the strength of the magnets. If it's not strong enough, give it another pass. If it's too strong, you can give it a pass in the other direction to weaken it. Yeah, a bit tricky. Hence why I just buy them off the shelf now. But yeah, that's essentially, that's all they are. Just magnets and a coil, you know. That's what it comes down to. There's other guys on here that know a lot more about pickups than I do. That's not hard. If it's got the forearm and belly cuts painted black on a sunburst finish, then it'll be laminate and 90% chance it's ceramic. They made a bunch of plywood bodies and did the burst that way. Yeah, to cover it up. So this one is ply. You can see in the cutouts. So yeah, it probably is a ceramic body, I'd say. Maybe. Who knows? Ceramic did everything back in the day. All right. So let's put a bit of heat shrink on that one, just to cover up that melt in the wire. So there should be a little container down there that says heat shrink on the end of it. Probably to your left a bit further. Keep going. Yeah, down there.
Oh, yeah.
Got it? Sweet as. Crack that open. Got some finish black stuff there. That should be alright. Fire up the heat gun. Oop. Flying. Those ceramic magnet single coils gave it away for me. Yeah, they're on fenders. They're on everything. That Japanese fender I got off Six had ceramic magnets. Just set that to 200 degrees. See, it shrinks. Just to make sure that doesn't short out on anything, that's all. Alright, give them a twist. It's easy while the heat shrink's still warm. Alright, now I kind of want to get a larger bit of heat shrink. Oh, we've got Mark here. He's always grilling and smoking meats. So he's always teasing us with his foods that he's cooking. He always sends me photos of his chef skills.
Yeah, my uncle's a butcher.
Oh, is he?
Actually, he sold his butcher shop.
Yeah, right. Local or?
No.
All right. I remember my auntie lives out at Singleton. When I was probably about your age, we went out to her house for just a family holiday and catch up. And just like middle of the day, she's got a whole cow carcass hanging from a carport, butchering it, all the blood and guts and stuff on a driveway. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is different. She used to grow cattle and got the local butcher to come in and butcher them.
The farm.
Yeah, she had the farm, and then she'd get the butcher to come in and just contract to her or whatever. Yeah, it was funny. Next day, it freezes absolutely chock solid. But yeah, anyone with queasy stomach would be pretty turned off by that, I reckon. Alright, so we've got 2 bits on there. I like doing it like this. That way you just group them there. And then another one where the 3rd pair of wires joins it. You like to try and... Ceramic's not a big deal, but try and keep heat away from magnets. Because heat demagnetizes magnets. I forget the term for it, Curie temperature or whatever, where the magnet loses its magnetism. But yeah, we're splitting hairs there a bit. Right, so we'll group the ground wires off to the right and cut them all to the same length. Sometimes when you're doing a pickup install, like when I'm doing one, I'll ask the customer, look, do you want to leave the pickup wires like close to full length? Because a lot of the time they're trying pickups out that they've never used before, and they're not sure exactly if they're going to like them or not. Yeah. So if they leave them long, they're better for resale, for selling on. Right. If someone's going to put them in another guitar that may need them a bit shorter or longer, they're easier to sell if they're not super short. Some pickups can be used sort of equally in the bridge or neck position. So if they're in the neck, obviously the wires have to be a bit longer. So it can be good to just leave them all that length or longer. Makes it less neat, but once they're fully committed to the pickup, then you can wire it in proper and permanently a bit neater. Mark's sent gift memberships out. Thanks, mates. Who got one? Kerry, Jonathan, Authority on Regulations. Okay, a weird name again. Cello Independente, and Greg Bear. Good on you, champions. Yeah, bunch of them getting sort of for sale. Oh, he's talking about his Six Dr. Gear. That's his real name. Six. Don't ask. He just acquired. He didn't acquire them. I think. Okay, yeah, he's doing a bunch of synthesizer restorations, vintage synthesizers. He's the synthesizer man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm a bit slow with that kind of thing, so he's all across it. He's like Rain Man for synthesizers. You probably don't even know who Rain Man is, eh?
No.
I just realised how old I am.
Yeah.
It's the movie where,
I've heard of it, but
yeah,
I don't know what
there's
it's
a
about.
guy that like is really good at like numbers, like card counting and that. And yeah, he's just like super quick with certain things. But anyway, you got to watch the movie.
What's it called? Rain Man.
Rain Man, yeah, got Tom Cruise in it, so it's not brilliant, but you know. Right, see our wire's a bit short there.
Yeah.
So because we've twisted it, we've shortened it a bit. So what I'll do is I'll just splice on an extra bit. It's not super graceful, but we'll cover it with heat shrink and hide it away and pretend it never happened.
Yeah. I do know Rain Man.
Oh yeah, you know Rain Man?
He's the guy. Yeah, Tom Cruise, and then
Tom Cruise and Dustin
there's the
Hoffman.
guy that drops the matches on the floor.
Oh man, it's been that long since I watched it. I couldn't even tell you. But yeah, probably.
Yeah. And then he's like, it's 88 or something.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to watch it again. I haven't seen it since I was your age or younger. Yeah, point being, he's super knowledgeable. Alright, so I'll just do a little J hook like that on each one. Some guys go way over the top with their splicing. Like they twist it together like a noose and tie it over itself, and they call it the NASA splice, because apparently that's a NASA specification, but 9 times out of 10 I think they just like trying to impress people by saying that rather than actually, you know. Do you want to grab that heat shrink for us again?
Yep.
Just pop a bit over there.
What's that?
Grab a bit of... It's alright, I'll grab it. Let's pop it up here. Alrighty. So what I'll do is I'll desolder what needs to be desoldered, and then I'll prep it, and then I'll get you to resolder it. So see this wire here is twisted over a few times. Just breaks like that, holding on by a strand. Now you kind of got to test all this stuff, because as soon as it goes back to the customer is when it fails. It'll be fine here the whole time. You're like, yeah, nothing wrong with it. But as soon as the customer gets it back, it'll break every time. So I like to put stuff through a bit of a torture test just to make sure it's going to be fine, because that's what the customer's going to do to it.
Yeah.
Same with amps. Give them a bit of a bash. Make sure you can move them around a few times without them making any weird noises, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just finished up a Laney linebacker. Such a pleasure to work on. Designed for service. Sounds like arse. But I'll forgive it for how nice it is to repair. Yeah, wow. That NASA thing is a lineman. What? A lineman? Oh, a lineman knot. Yeah. So Scotty, he's a pedal builder. We'll forgive him for that. But so I'm just getting rid of the old bit of wire. Sometimes you need some tweezers to do that properly. Because it tries to harden as soon as it gets away from the soldering iron. And just clean the soldering iron every sort of couple of joins, or every join, depending on how filthy it is. Because all the stuff on the solder joint, all the flux, all the dirt, it all congeals on the iron over time and gunks it up. And you kind of don't want to be sucking anything but solder up with this thing. If an old wire goes in there, it can block the tip. There's a bit of wire on there. Get off. All right, so one half of the switch switches the output of each pickup. So which pickup you've selected, and the other half of the switch changes what pot is controlling the tone. Yeah, so your output here. Well, hang on. So am I talking crap here? Okay, so that's yeah, so that's, it's got one pole, but it's connected to, so at the moment we're here. So I'll just get the meter on what they call continuity mode. So that means when they're touching, they beep. So this one is connected.
Yeah.
And this one up here is connected to the same one.
Okay.
Don't mind the fact that it's not constant. That's probably your switch contacts being a bit shit, and also just the gunk on the connectors. But you see there, when we flick it the other way, now those three are all connected. And then when you're halfway between one, see there, it's touching both pins.
Yeah.
It's spread between them, and same over there. So now all four of these will be connected to that. And likewise, when you're the other way, that's how you get the in-between positions where you've got two pickups on at once. Right, so the switch is showing continuity. We probably need to clean the contacts a bit, but otherwise that would be like a solid tone. So that probably means it's dropping in and out because of dirt on the contacts. Right, so just to make it simple, first thing we'll do is wire the pickup outputs, because we know where they're going. I might just cut these as long as possible. I'll just cut off the sort of scungy bit. So maybe have a feel of them. Just sort of center it in there and then squeeze it. And
Okay. Just anyone?
Yep. That one, that's the right gauge. So you got to match it to whatever gauge the wire is. Okay. You sort of get a feel for it after a while, but it's probably 22 actually. So go in the 22 slot back this way. Yep, that one. You just got to make sure it's centered in there. Otherwise you'll cut the wire off.
Is that too much?
Yep. No, that's good. And then you smack me in the face with it. So hold it tight and then pull it away. Yep, there you go. Might want to take a little bit more off, just so you can always take more off. Just so we can go through the eyelet and fold it over. Sweet as. Right, so now I'll...
My wire cutters do not work.
Yeah, the strippers you mean? Yeah, right. Yeah, these ones are pretty good. Alright, so what we want to do, when you're in that position, you want it to be that pickup, right? Yeah. So you have a look in there, you can see it's on the lower contact. You can see the contact inside there. If you look, it's a bit hard to see with the light, but if you look in there, it's on the lowest pin, this pin out here. Mm-hmm. So that's the brown wire. So we want the brown one to be down there. I just turn it over about almost 180 degrees like that. Just a nice J shape. Do that to all of them. And I hook it through the eyelet. And then come back with the pliers. And just not like fully crimp it, but just tighten it up a bit on the eyelet. A little bit tricky when you got other stuff in the way. Do that to the next one. And, oh, I've gone the wrong way then. We want the yellow one to be the middle one, and the white one to be the other extreme. It's hard to show you and show the camera all at the same time. And me be able to see it too, which is a nice luxury. Alright, so just tuck them down there. Sort of position them around there. And go ahead and solder them. Let's zoom in so everyone can laugh at you. Alright. Yeah, you probably have to adjust the height. Yep. So just dab the solder on. So you want to sort of get the iron on the eyelet and start feeding the solder about the same time into the eyelet. You don't want to feed the solder so much onto the solder tip. A tiny bit to get started, so you've got good contact with the soldering iron does help. So I like to just dab. I sort of do it without thinking about it now, but I just dab a tiny bit of solder on the tip when it's right there. So get everything within 5mm of the joint and then start working. And just be wary of where your barrel is too, that you don't melt anything else. Which is just a tiny bit on the tip. Yep, ready to go. Yep, and then hold it on there, and then it should start feeding in almost immediately. Yep, and just remove the heat and just see how you're going. Have a close look. Is it actually on the wire? Yep. Yep, a little bit more, yeah. Just right on the join there. See how that looks. Let's just hold it up and you can see there's a nice flow to the join there. It's nice and shiny. A little bit of flux there we probably could have cleaned off beforehand. But that's all right. That's a good join. So do the same thing on the yellow. You might have to move your arm right over so you're not going to melt anything. It's always tricky working around stuff. Put a little bit more solder in.
On this side or this side?
On that side.
This one?
Yep. How you doing it? Yeah. So you heat up the join and then feed it into the join. Yeah, you're stuck to it. It's like stick welding. They say it's not called stick welding because there's a stick on the end. It's because it always sticks to the workpiece. Now, the trickiest one, the brown one, you're going to have to move your wrist right over to get underneath. Ideally, we would have done that first. But I like throwing you in the deep end. You got to be careful not to melt the yellow wire now. Yeah, a little bit more on there just to get it started. All right, how's that look? Stick the soldering iron back. Just give it a clean first. All right, looking pretty good, man. Nice fillet to it, shiny, not crusty. Yeah, sweet as. Then we'll just arrange those wires a bit so they're just, I don't really want to cut them any shorter, but just so they don't bottom out against the body. They should be fine like that. So the next one, we'll do this ground wire. So cut that to length to the end of the puddle. Yeah, just to the end. Generally use a cutter the other way around so that the side that you want to keep is the side with the flush side on it because it gives a nicer cut. This is all stuff I don't even think about, but it's sort of just second nature after a while. All right, so this wire that I've installed is slightly thicker than that one. So you might want to use the last notch, that one there, and take off about that much. A little bit more because it's a high temperature join. We've got to pump a bit of heat into the pot to get it to flow properly, so we don't want to melt the jacket. If it's a bit hard to remove, you can just maybe go down to the next one. Yeah, you don't have to squeeze it too hard because you might squeeze it so hard that you actually bite into the center wire. A little bit more off, probably double that amount. No, double the amount you took off to start with. Beauty. Now you got to tin it. Have you done tinning before?
I know what it is, but I haven't.
Yep. So basically I just hold sort of like, I might just show you on a spare bit. So I'll just grab a bit of blue tack. Blue tack's fantastic for holding wires in place where you want to work on them. You can either sandwich it between that and a hard, you know, surface, or just stick it to the top of it like that. So you'll find if you're just gentle like that, maybe a few nibbles, it comes off real easy like that. And tinning is basically, oh, I want to try and get it on the camera. Where are we? We're too zoomed out. Tinning's basically getting a bit of solder on the wire so it flows nicely when you join it with something. So I just tiny bit on the tip, touch that on the wire, and then feed a little bit in. You should still see the twist in the wire because you should have very little on there. If it's a big blob like this, that's too much, because then if you need to bend the wire or do a splice or whatever, it'll just break off. So if you do get that much on, it's not the end of the world. Just come back in with a desolder gun, just remove the excess, and it should look like that. So yeah, try that on that one. Need a coffee or something, mate? You're shaking. You've only got the entire world watching. It's fine. It's alright. Half the blokes in the chat probably can't solder as good as you already anyway, so don't worry about it. Yeah, that's got a good flow. That's perfect. It's a bit hard to see up close, but if you have a look through these, you can see... oh, yep. Sorry, I thought you were just putting it away. Have a look through that and you'll see that it's a nice flow to it. That comes to my next question. How are your eyes? Are they good? Yeah? Okay. I think. Have you ever had them tested?
No.
Yeah, I'm short-sighted, so it works out well for me. Long-sighted, not so good, but yeah,
I think my dad's opposite.
Opposite, yeah, right. Yeah, keep an eye on it. Like if you are struggling, it's good to find out. But yeah. All right, so we can solder that onto there now. So we want to put as little heat into the wire as possible. So basically, heat up the puddle first. Heat up the pot. We can add more solder if we want, but in this case, I've already sort of established a bit of a puddle, and that's what we want, nice and shiny. Oh, get my camera work happening again. I think we need a bit of a cleanup. So yeah, essentially you don't have a big blob. There's nice flow there. The wire's not really visible in the puddle. It sort of is, but like you want a bit of a fillet. But yeah, that's a good join basically. So I'll undo that and then you can do it again. It's probably a little bit too much solder actually, but it takes a while to get the heat into the joint. Alright, so I might clean that solder off. Start again. After you use it a few times, the flux starts to evaporate. And you need to get more flux on there. It's always good to start with fresh solder. Alright. Give that a go. Use the tweezers so you don't burn yourself. Get straight ones there too, if that's easier. Yeah, just get it lined up. You might want to twist it around a bit so it's sort of lined with the puddle like that.
Yeah.
Just try and get it as close as possible before actually going for it. There you go. Chuck it in, get rid of it. So how's that look? Sort of holding on just by the tip. So you might want to just push the wire into the joint a little bit more. Yeah, it's still getting a bit of trouble getting the heat into it. So what you want to do, get as much surface area as you can. So if you lay it down flat on the pot like this, just sort of hold it like a pencil. Get the whole barrel on there and it melts almost instantly, right? So not worried about putting too much heat into the pot. Well, you know, within reason. But get the heat into the pot, melt it good, then get your wire in there. Oop, and then slip. And then hold it there until it sets. And then you got a pretty good fillet on that one too. We are starting to heat that wire a bit too much though, so we might leave that one at that and practice on the next one. Rightio, so all the pickups are wired up. Then we want the output of the pickup, this one here, to go to the pot wafer. So you've got the wafer and the wiper. The wafer is essentially the track that goes around like this. Have you ever seen inside a pot?
No.
I'll just crack a crap one open for you so you can see what they look like. Crap pot. Where are we? Normally got one I've pulled out of something that's in the bin, but here's a nice piece of shit. Alright, so here's one probably about, that's an old Alpha. Probably pretty similar to the ones in there. So I'll just, basically they're just held together by these little crimps. That holds the back on. Let's just zoom in for the lads. Turn it off manual focus. Take the back cover off. Ugh, let me clean it first. This is why they sound terrible, right? That's probably why it got replaced, because it's covered in shmoo. And that would have been very intermittent. It's like wood shavings and all sorts of stuff. Just general dirt. Because they got a grease on them, any dirt gets in there and it just sticks right to them. Where are we? Here we are. So, we'll have to destroy it to show you what I want to show you. But see here, you've got the fingers. Those there. And you turn that around and they wipe around that track. Now that track's like a resistor. You know, it keeps going around now because that's the end stop there. And that hits that block there. Normally that would stop it at the ends of the travel. But yeah, see, that eyelet there is connected to this end of the wafer, and this eyelet over here is connected to the other end of the wafer. You can see there. Now the middle one goes to what we call a commutator, so it's got its own track in the middle and it's connected to these little pieces here. You can see they're pressed against a ring in the center, and that's what connects to these fingers. So that's what we call the wiper, because it's connected to the wiper. And then the wafer is either end of these ones. So yeah, if we want to fully destruct it, you'll have a closer look at the there we go. So that's the contact ring in the center. So generally these aren't resistive, they're just a contact. And that's the resistive track there. So as you work your way around, it's higher and higher resistance from that one and less to that one. And if you're going around the other way, it's more and more resistance to that one, and then less to that one. Yeah, there's tapers and all sorts of other stuff that come into play, but that's the basic principle. And on the other, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. On the other side of it, we've got the mechanism, which is basically a spring and a contact. And those two little inner contacts there, they're always making contact with that ring there. I really haven't set up well for this. We're doing this above a guitar while I'm looking at the camera. Yeah, those two little fingers are always touching that centerpiece there, and they're electrically connected to the wiper, which is always wiping around there. So that's the guts of a pot. They all follow the same basic principle. There's lots of different designs, mostly just different mechanical sizes and specifications, but they all basically follow the same principle. In the bin with that one. So where are we? So we want to do the contact to the center of the switch. So you can think of the switch pretty similar to the pot. It's got your contacts on the center and contacts on the outside. It's just instead of a resistive track, you're just going to different terminals basically. So, but you know, similar principle. So we may as well reuse your yellow wire here. So have a go at stripping that.
Is this bigger than the other?
The outside's probably bigger, but the inside's smaller. So when you're going off AWG, that's the quoted size of the inner conductor, not the outer jacket. So yeah, the inner conductor is what you're going off. Yeah, the outer jacket is what you're cutting off. So basically when you close the thing, it's the inner conductor that you're looking at.
Right.
Let's have a look at that. So yeah, that's well done. You don't really need to twist it too much because you risk scoring the inner. If it doesn't come off nicely like that, you got to reassess and figure out what's going on. Should be nice and gentle like that. If you got to pull too hard, then you're either biting into the inner and you're going to score it, and possibly that's might be why a couple of the connectors were only holding on by a few strands because they've already been cut. Or you're not all the way through the jacket and you're trying to pull the jacket rather than actually slicing it and then removing the cut off piece. Right, so prep that one. Basically, we want to clean off this terminal with a bit of, I'll just use a bit of braid on that. This is all stuff that you can easily access because it doesn't cost $1 million. A lot of guys just get by with braid. They don't have any of the fancy crap that I've got. And they do just as good a job, if not better. So we want that terminal connected to that terminal.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I gotta prep this.
Yep, you got to prep it. That I think is already tinned. This is what they call top coat wire. See, it's already tinned.
Yeah.
So they tin it before they put the jacket on it. So generally you can get away with just using that straight up. But I suggest just tinning it anyway, just to make sure it's good. Sometimes the top coat's a bit light on. It doesn't get right into it. But it's good practice anyway.
So blue tack it?
Yeah, absolutely. Blue tack. I usually use the roller solder and just stick it on there. It's a nice handy little weighted thing to use. I'm gonna go check on Michelle. Michelle's rearranging all my strings. Hey, looking good, woman. How many times have you redone it now? Oh. We've got more stands for those mark base. There's another one over there. Yeah, we'll just leave that over there.
Just be here, so at least it's in the bases with the bases.
Yep. You can remove that back off it if you want. That gives you another row there.
Just put that in
Oh, okay. But what I'm saying is you don't need it.
there. Yeah, but I don't have mixes right now, so.
We'll fill it up. Don't worry about
So
that.
you can remove this, but at the moment it's just covering space that I don't have something.
Okay. What about those ones?
Yeah, that's there.
They're the 5 stringers. Are you sure? I thought we had only 3 of each type.
No, you've got 45, 130, 45, 130.
Alright, so that's 45, 130, 5 string long scale. Just check the numbers. Oh, they removed the numbers, didn't they? Cockheads. Yeah, I am. They're still cockheads. 14777, that's the part. 45, 130 light.
Oh.
Yeah, 1.4.
They're lights.
Yeah,
These are
hang on.
light,
It's
these
the
are not.
material too. So nickel plated steel, stainless steel. So they're different products. I know they make it easy, don't they? No, none of them are. Yeah. It's in the stack there. It's good fun, isn't it? Stock keeping. I did. That's why they're in the box. Well, it's in the pile. It's from National Music. How'd you go? Yep, little J hook. Probably easy to use. The pliers, the tweezers can be a bit piss weak for that, so use them. Hey, $2. Thanks, goodie. Get a red frog with that. I think it's really cool that you're being a mentor to this young guy. Not yet. I'm just trialing him. As a reward, I will buy you 1/3 of a cup of coffee. Thanks, mate. My best friend's sister's brother's girlfriend heard from this who's going with the guy whose nephew is working with what? I don't know what he's talking about. They're just lunatics. Looking forward to quoting and dealing with customers. Lesson stream. The basis for Radiohead's nephew contacted Brad and said him. They think you're from Radiohead. I don't know. I skipped pedal building and went straight to 450 volts. That's a good move. Happy Harry Harden. I don't think we're going to start Luke on 450 volts just yet. One day. It's not getting shocked that I'm worried about. It's blowing stuff up that I'm worried about all the time. If I get shocked, I'm dead. I don't have to worry about anything then. It's good. There you can see, like, you know, it does take a bit of attention to do. When we ran the pedal building course, there were people that have never soldered before ever, and we had to teach me how to build a pedal from scratch. So we ended up running over schedule by about 3 hours, I think it was. So I had to finish a few pedals off for him, but yeah, we got there in the end.
Do I also put this one underneath?
No, you could contact that on the same side. What I was just trying to demonstrate with on the other side is you want the heat to be on the workpiece before you feed the solder in, instead of just blobbing the solder on top, which I think is maybe what happened with the pot when you were soldering it before. You need to get the eyelet up to temperature so the solder flows on it. If that doesn't happen, you'll just end up with a blob sitting on top of the joint, and it may look okay, but it won't have reliable contact. So yeah, see there, it's flowed all the way up the eyelet, so that's looking good. So you can prepare the joint on the other end on the pot. Yeah, on the end one, yeah. So that's so when the wiper's going to be the output. So when you turn it all the way down, the output's directly connected to ground. So that means your amp won't have any noise or anything. Some of the older vintage guitars that have the pickup signal would go to the wiper, and the output would be on the other end, like basically where we're feeding the signal into. They'd take that as the output. On some bass guitars where they don't have a pickup switch, they've just got 2 pots. You kind of have to do that to mix the 2 pots together, and as a result, you can never completely turn it all the way down. So even when the pots are turned all the way down, the amp can still have a bit of hiss, a bit of hum. Wiring it this way means it'll be dead silent when you turn it all the way down. So yeah, two different methods. Each have their advantages and disadvantages. Goody Guitars. Please remember, Brad, he's probably nervous, and this is a lot to be thrown into. This is great, Brad. Yeah, well, you know, that's rock and roll. You get thrown in the deep end, eh? My mate that played bass with Dragon last night, he was told about the gig 2 days beforehand, and he had to learn all the Dragon songs in 2 days. 2 days later, he's on stage with Dragon playing all these songs he's heard his whole life. And he had to sing backups too. I was watching him singing, and he's like, "Oh, because I know how he reacts. I could see when he stepped back from the mic. Oh, he doesn't know those words." It was so funny. Yeah, looking good. What I might actually do there, it's a bit of a nitpicky thing. Like, that's a good join, but what I might do is just show you a way I like to do. Where every time you're laying the wire against the pick guard, what I kind of like to do there is run it straight. So say this is down sort of there. Bring the wire up that way. And now it's poking upwards. Now that alone would be a good join. But what I like to do, because it won't hold itself there, I like to just twist it over the top. And that way you can go and do all your joins dry first, and then you can go through and solder them all at once, because it sort of holds itself in place. But just solder that one now. Looking good. Looking good. Excellent. All right, so now we need to figure out what we're doing with the tone circuit. So basically, we've got two tone pots. Think of them as just independent. And here's one of the inputs, and there's one of the other inputs. So we could wire these up to anything we wanted. We could have one on the master if we wanted. So that affects all pickups. Traditionally on a Strat, this one has been the tone control for that, and that one's been the tone control for that pickup, and then that didn't have a tone control. I prefer having one for the neck pickup and one for the bridge pickup, and then none for the middle pickup, because you've only got two. You can wire them with a different type of switch, so it's the tone control for multiple pickups at once. So you could have one for the neck and one for the bridge and middle, vice versa. I find myself not, a lot of people don't use the middle pickup by itself as often as the bridge and neck. So I think it's more advantageous to have one for the neck and one for the bridge. So basically this, you can see here, this eyelet's, oh no, that's been soldered to before, but yeah. What we'll do in that case, we might just re-terminate that. So if you want to go ahead and clean these eyelets up and remove that wire, and we'll prep some new wire, and same with these ones over here. Just clean that one up, get rid of the old bits of wire and stuff like I showed you a second ago. No, leave that there, because that's the link between the two. But see this one here, the center one? We don't use that one, and we don't use that one, but we're going to use that one, and we're going to use that one. And we're going to use 2 out of 3 of these, but just clean them all up and get rid of that wire. So get started on that. Yeah, if you want to get rid of the big blob. I might just put a smaller tip on there, actually, because that one's massive. Or actually, probably what I should get you doing is using that solder sucker, because that's something you're going to have at home. Yeah, give that a try. Just cycle it a few times to get a feel for how it works. So yeah, I've locked it into the storage position. So there's if you push it and you hold it and go like that, that's how you put it in your toolbox. It's more compact. But then you got to push it again to activate it. Now it's ready to go. And then don't touch the button, just go until it clicks. And now it's ready to go again. Sometimes you'll get a blob stuck in there. And when you push it real hard, it'll push the tip out like that. Just give it a push down back on the bench. I generally try to sort of have a little bin like this nearby. And because it is lead, just do it over that. So if it spits out anywhere, it'll just go there instead of just random stuff on the bench. So essentially, you heat up the joint just as if you were going to solder to it. Sort of try and hold it over it as much as possible. It's a bit tricky. You're not going to melt the tip because it's Teflon. See that? Yep. Temperature resistant. So you just melt it, get a good melt happening. And there you go. Can be a bit tricky when you're working around other parts, so we might move that cap out of the way like that, and then you can go in from that end. You sort of need to access both sides of the terminal. Give that a go. Don't be afraid, you're not going to hurt anything, and if you do, it's yours anyway. What? What? Yeah? Still got a chunk in it, or? Yeah, that'll be right. I think so. Just press it and find out. Nah. You'll get a feel for it. Just don't hold the button, just push it until it clicks. Oh, there goes the tip. Give it a clean out while we're there. You have to clean it out. You can just undo it like that. Whole back end comes off. That's the mechanism. Just be sure to wash your hands before you go home. Oh, what's going on? There you go. I think it was just jammed up a bit. Yeah. Just go, see that little bit there? When that goes in where the white button is, it allows it to click. If you push too hard, it tries to push the tip out. So yeah, just gentle until it clicks and then you're good. There are better ones and worse ones out there.
Big blob down here.
Yep. Yeah, we might get that with a bit of wick. If you want a bit of practice, once you've cleaned it, just put some more solder on there and try it again, just to get a bit of a feel for it, you know? You're only going to do it about 500 million more times in your life, so... Sometimes it goes off and you're not ready for it, eh? It kind of scares you. Maybe clean that that white wire off, just remove it and clean clean its contact too, because it's only holding on by a thread. So Champions, that orange amp I was working on earlier. I think most of the crackling was from the reverb cable having failed, or the reverb connector having failed. So nothing too dramatic there, but it's also dropped an output valve because it sounded horrible, and I looked at the dissipation and one of the valves isn't conducting at all. So a new pair of EL34s for that amp. And new connectors on the reverb cables and a general service. I think will cover everything. But I'll just pop a test set of EL34s in there beforehand just to make sure there's no other issues. Make sure it's sounding like it should in all its British glory. Don't mind me, just doing a bit of housekeeping. Sweet. So you just carry on cleaning the terminals, maybe resolder them again, and actually, you know what? Try a bit of flux, a bit of braid on this one. So as you use the braid, you have to cut it off. Generally, it's going to be pretty soaked with solder before you have to do those. So just put the braid between the workpiece and the iron. Eventually, you'll feel it sort of start to sink into the solder, and you'll see the solder soak up into the braid. It's gone all shiny, and once it's gone proper shiny, it can't take any more solder. If you've got a nice big open work area, you can just work your way up the braid and just fold it back away from the workpiece like that. But if you're in a tight little spot like that, just cut that off and go again. So just put a bit back on there so you can practice with the braid. This is all yeah, cheap stuff that you can access. So just clean up those contacts with a bit of braid, get a feel for it.
I don't think this will get hot.
Yeah, it does. If it's too hot for you, just wind it back a bit, pull a bit more out. Yeah, so it's just a basically a if you push it this way, you can just undo a bit more and keep your distance from it. The longer you sit on it, the longer it, the hotter it gets because it is copper.
Yeah.
But yeah, just hold it back a bit further. Got a few questions. Are you finding JJ's being the most reliable on average again? Yes and no. Did they ever fix the glass annealing issue? Yeah, Scotty, they did. So I haven't had a broken JJs in a long time. I think most of that issue was around 2016 to 2019 manufacture date, so we've sort of gone through all that stock now, as have most others, because the issue would have occurred by now if it had that problem. The biggest issue with JJs at the moment is microphonics. So yeah, in combos like a twin or a deluxe reverb where you got the speaker right next to it, they tend to go microphonic in a not very long time, if not immediately. So yeah, they're great in heads, but in combos I tend towards either mullard or tongue sole, anything that's got like a metal spring retention rather than just the squash mica. But yeah, besides that, electronically the JJs are reliable, but just the microphonics is an issue. How's that all looking? Sweet as, bro. Missed one.
Oh,
See, it just soaks right up into it once it starts going. There it goes. Boom. Done. All right. Well, now we want to prep some wires to go from that side of the switch to the tone knobs. So we might just use some of my wire because it's a bit thicker. Basically, probably cut that one in half. And prep one end of them, solder them to place. We'll solder them to the switch first in the positions that we want. And then we'll cut them to length. Actually, did I cut one too short? No, that's heaps. Sorry, we're just being silly.
is this a 22?
Yeah, 22. It says it on the reel. Maybe not. 22, yeah, there you go. 22 AWG, yep. Oh, you can't read it on those ones. I just wanted to double check, that's all. I always get the gauges mixed up. Sorry, just reading. Might get my phone over here so I can answer people without hovering. Yo. Yep. All right, just reading back through the comments. Max Powers says, looking forward to the quoting and dealing with customers lesson stream. I don't think I'll be doing that one, Max Powers. That's something you got to figure out for yourself. All right, so you prepped one end. Let's figure out which ones we're going to connect to. So if we're doing the outer two pickups, which I think is a cool thing to do. Well, your guitar, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Yep, sweet. Yeah, cool. Poor little middle pickup. I was going to make a joke guitar once with a Strat and have no controls at all and just the middle pickup. And I was going to call it a shut up and play guitar because, you know, you just got to play. You don't have anything to twiddle with. So because the switch is at one end, so when we're on the bridge pickup, that would be that position. See where the switch contacts are.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we're on the neck, it's the bottom one.
Yep.
See that? So because we want to line them up with the pickup, so those two to those two, we want that one to be the neck one and that one to be the bridge one. So because we're in neck position now, we'll wire that one there to the center there. And we'll wire that one there to the center there. So start prepping for that.
Bottom one to here.
Yep. So bottom one where it is now to that one, center contact, and top one to center contact on that one. So basically solder onto the switch first, then lay your cables down where you want them to go, and then cut them about that much longer than you need to for stripping them. Brad, I see you have crack in your armor. What armor? What are you talking about? What? Am I showing plumber's crack? You hang of it?
Think so.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, as you saw then, you just shape the wire to about what you want it to be before you put it in, so you're not fighting it the whole way. And once it's in, just gently sort of shape it to where you want it to go beforehand. And if it's too short, just admit it, bite the bullet and put a new piece in. You might want to go on the other side of the pot for that, but solder it first so you're not stressing the join.
Should I have the hook around the other side?
No, it's not critical. What I'll probably do here is just maybe just pull that out again and pass it under. Or probably just go this way, put the ground against the bottom there. And then just sort of shape it around there. Right, that's about the length you want. Hang on, which one are we on? You're on the neck, yep. Pass it up through there. There you go. Almost there, bro. I'll get you one of those jack plates. Did you bring those jacks back? Yeah, sweet. Could have just left them here, eh? Didn't think of that. There you go. That's a bit of a ratty one. I'll put it in the ultrasonic. I never get sick of that sound. Oh yeah, cool. All right. Yep. Sweet. Gonna have a bit of character with bits and pieces, eh? Get rid of this. So if you make a join with an eyelet, the basic principle is, as long as you're not doing what they call poke and pray, where you just push it through and just solder it in place, because that can crack. What you want is what, sort of like a lap join. So just thinking of a way to show you. So if you have a join like, say this is your wire, a join just like that, that can crack over time. So what you want to do is at least have a join like that, and then cut off the excess, obviously. So that way you've got more surface area there, and that's the bare minimum. What I've been telling you to do is the J-hook sort of thing, just so it holds itself in place where you solder it. It's a bit easier. Otherwise you're sort of holding it with your pinky and trying to do 3 things at once. Yeah, about there. Probably lay it down against the bottom like the other one. If you pass it under there, just solder that in first, so you're not fighting it. You got the pliers, yeah. Just solder that first, and then you can move it without it falling out. Happy Harry Harden. What should I build next? A 5A3 or a Gibson EH185? 5A3, bro. One of the best amps in the world. I'm about to work on my Gretsch hollow body. Not looking forward to all the snaking of wires through F-files. Yeah, man, I hate wiring hollow bodies, dude. I really, yeah, it's really, really annoying. Your best option is to build the loom outside and then feed it in and just try and maintain that shape. Use heat shrink wherever you can. Nice sturdy wire. Nothing that can twist and break. Yeah, just shorten it up a bit. So run it under that cap wire. But yeah, just hold it there for now, just to trim it to size. So about there, and sort of just overshoot it a bit. And then prep the end and tin it.
Yep.
Sweet as. You probably just pass it under that cap wire. It's not critical, but just so it's neat and tidy. Yeah, just use your tweezers wherever it's easier. Yeah. Just getting the bits and pieces out. Oh, that one's broken. I think I didn't give you them. In the bin. In the bin. Might have to order you a set of them. About $30 a set, something like that. I think today we're going to have to just wire it and then do the rest later. Running out of time. Yeah, just use the tweezers, and if you get it through straight, then bend it after. Here you go, mate. Just give it a little crimp just to make sure it's going to sit against the eyelet. And go for it. Yeah, I think you'll happy Harry Harden. I think you'll find the 5A3 is a really good platform for modification as well, just to get to know what an amp does and why it does what it does. If you have a look on the, you're probably already aware of it, but if you have a look on Rob Robinette's page, I'd love to put a link, but that's a bit too hard at the moment. Just Google Rob Robinette and 5E3 mods, and you'll see. If you're going to build yourself one, obviously you're not going to get a vintage one and then go modifying it because they're worth a mint. But if you build your own, you're free to modify it and unmodify it and remodify it. Do whatever you want. Have fun with it. He's got a whole list of mods on there. I suggest not doing them all at once, or not doing even multiple at once. Just do one at a time. Build the stock amp first, and then experiment with each mod one at a time, and you learn an awful lot about amps in the process. It's a really good amp to start off on. All right, so looks like we're done. Just cut off a bit of excess poking up there. Yep. Don't cut the eyelet off, but just the lead. So now, where does our signal come out? You show me. Where do we wire up the jack to? The output of the volume pot, which would be, yep, the center contact. That's right. So that's the wiper. And that's our, what they call hot. That's where the signal comes out. And then the other contact on the output jack is the ground, which is just anywhere. You can see that's all wired together. So our best bet's probably put another wire on there and put another wire on there. So for that, it's got to go out through the body. So we want it to be a bit longer, have a bit of slack to it, because it's got to come out this hole here. And that enters there, right? So probably want about double that, so you can remove the pick guard to change something if you want without having to unsolder it, and you can remove the jack to replace it without having to unsolder it from the other end, because obviously you can't get them both out at once. So we want to make another twisted pair, just like this pickup here. So for that, we'll use, yeah, probably about that, fully sick bro, hang 10, whatever it means. But we'll probably go, yeah, a bit longer, because when you twist it, it makes it shorter. And then some of the black wire as well, which I just had out before. Just the same length. Oh, it's already pre-tinned from before. Perfect. Now what I do, grab the drill just to make it a bit easier. If it's a short length like that, you can just do it by hand, but make a twisted pair. There you go. So, tin that at both ends, just like this. Just cut it off equal. Separate it a bit, like that. And then just do that at both ends, and then pre-tin it. Just use a bit of blue tack on the coil again. So you're getting the hang of it now. So to be honest, champions, I wasn't gonna teach Luke anything, but then he showed me his new watch that he got. And guess what it is, champions? It's the Seiko 5. Exactly what I'm in the market for. Just the run-of-the-mill Seiko 5. They're good watches, man. Probably outlive you. Depending what you do with it. Mycosis says, generally don't melt the solder on the iron. The joint should be hot enough for the solder to melt on it before you flow it. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. So you want to heat the actual eyelet and then flow the solder onto it. However, sometimes just getting a tiny bit of solder, basically tinning the tip, Just allows a greater surface area on the eyelet. It allows you to heat it up quicker. And with soldering, you want to get in and out as quickly as possible, because if you're putting heat into the join for too long, you can start melting things or overheating things. Generally, you want to get in and out as fast as possible, like a bank robbery. Yeah, so just clean that solder off again. Yep. Now get the tip of the soldering iron almost touching the wire, right? So like right next to it, and then feed solder into it. Yep. Yeah. Now that dab of solder on there, you can do that if the tip is like really dry. Generally, I do that for like bits of hardware, like eyelets and stuff, because if you've got two flat surfaces touching each other, they're only making contact by a tiny little amount. So I'll have them pretty much equidistant like that, and I might just touch a tiny bit on and then go for it straight away. Right? So doing it over here, you're going to see that smoke coming off? Yeah. That's the flux evaporating. Now, when there's no flux left on, it'll stop smoking. And then if you try and solder, it's going to have a crusty, gross connection. So you want to have, it's all about doing it as quickly as possible. Also, so you're making use of the flux before it evaporates, right? See how smoky it is there and then it fades away? Yeah. We could probably drop that temp down a little bit, actually. We're sitting around 300 Celsius. About 285 to 300. If I'm soldering pots and stuff, I tend to jack it up to about 320 and just work quick. But that's the beauty of having the adjustable temperature. You can change it to suit the application. So now, just solder them to, we'll go the white being the signal and the black being the ground. So yeah, prep it to that. We're basically going to solder that one to there and that one to there. All right. Don't listen to these jaded guys. Just like a relationship, you want to get in and out as fast as possible. Don't listen to him. He's just bitter. How'd you go? Let's have a look. Yep, just cut off that excess piece. You see how it curls over. Just gonna share everything here. So Gilletto. The Fromel bias mod, I'm not immediately sure what it is. Let me have a look. Fromel bias mod. Generally, Fromel stuff is massively marked up stuff you can just buy elsewhere for a fraction of the price. So he's got a lot of modification stuff that really doesn't improve much, and a lot of it can damage the amp when you're trying to install it, because it's just inappropriate footprint sizes and stuff. Yeah, righto, woman. Blues Junior. So I don't think he does a bias mod kit. He's got a general Blues Junior modification kit, which is a whole bunch of stuff. So now he does a replacement board, which isn't a bad idea, because the existing boards are pretty terrible. But if you just want to do the bias mod, I'll give you a link here to my mate's page, Rowan at Keld Ampworks. He's got a tiny little bias board that you can install. Gives you adjustable bias. There's a bunch of other stuff to do that amp too. You've got to go through and watch my video series on the Blues Hot Rod DeVille series. Products. He's got a separate product page, I believe, now. rsdsound.co.uk, yeah. So, where are we? Bias trimmer pot. Behringer. God, he's making parts for Behringers. Good on you, Rowan. Alright, so there's this page here. So he's got these tiny little boards. I've got a few here I keep in stock. Go and check them out. And then check out my video on that series of amps. And you'll probably get out of it for a lot less money. And you don't need to do all the other mods and stuff. Just, yeah. Anyway, shoot me a message if anything needs clarification. Alright.
Okay.
Solder that, yep. So, probably just try and get it sort of flat like that. And as much surface area as you can. You might want to feed a little bit more solder on there too. Just lay the soldering iron flat if you can, yeah, a little bit flatter. So, and hold the wire up above it. Just go like, hold it up there out of the way. There you go. Now just heat the joint up first. Get it so it's all molten. Yeah, the actual, sorry, the pot. Yep. Just get it all molten. Just hold, don't be afraid to just hold the iron there still. Yeah, so just keep the wire off it for a sec. I'll just give you a bit of a demo and just do it like this. So just hold it on there. Don't have to move it. Just melt it all. Now introduce the wire. Now she's done. All right. Just undo that for you. And try again. There's your tweezers. Bit tricky, isn't it? All right, let's clean that off and we'll make a new puddle. Puddle. Whatever you want to call it. So, let's just, so we want to solder this to it as well. So just heat it up. Alright, got a decent pool happening there now. So you can do it by hand too. Just heat up. Introduce the wire. Done. So just try that. No, I haven't got him using a conical tip, mate. Conical tips are good for nothing. This is oh, not sure the part number. I used to know it. In my parts box. Anyway, it's a Pace chisel tip. I don't even know why they make conical tips. They're not good for anything.
What's a conical tip?
It's, well, here's one. Well, no, that's actually a tiny chisel. But a conical tip is literally, it's just a cone. Whereas these ones are like a little chisel. They've got a flat spot on the end, which allows better surface area. Conical tips are generally on real cheap irons because they're easier to manufacture. Looking good. That's all right. Good enough. You'll get better at it, but that's structural for now. So that's everything. Now we've just got to wire it to the jack. So we'll install it, feed it through into that area, and then we can put some screws in. We might just test it first though. So we'll hook up the jack before we go fixing stuff off. I'll just throw those tuning machines back into my parts bin because they're no good for you. You've only got 5 out of 6. Yeah, they're just different types. Probably want to have all uniform type. You gotta squeeze it under the fretboard tongue. Might have to push it down a bit on. Yep, there you go. Boom. We're home. I think we might have a wire holding that up. There's something holding it up. Or is it just literally...
It might not be the right.
Yeah, I think the pickup cavity's just not, doesn't have as much spare depth, but yeah, that's all right.
They don't really match up with it.
They do once you get it in. Yeah, you just have to push it in a little bit to the under the neck. All right, well there's our wire. Yeah, no, we'll just wire up the output jack first and check our wiring. So what we want to do here, the lock washer only works, so many people get this wrong. The lock washer goes between the jack and whatever it's mounting to. It's got 2 jobs. One of them is to make good electrical contact. The other one's to make it not spin free. A lot of people put it on the outside, which only makes the nut stay there, and then the whole assembly can spin. So just need to put that in there first. And then a lot of people also trip up on which way you orient these. So see that screw hole? The screw hole's there. If the contact's there, it's going to be hitting the wall, right? So if you put it around that way, now you've got that gap, and that's why it's so deep, because it's got to go in that whole thing. So your contact wants to be furthest from the screw hole. So tighten that up. That's a 1/2 inch, and there's the thingy, the whatever I'm trying to say, the handle. Yeah, put that on before the nut. It just allows a proper seating, and the nut won't have friction against the maybe slightly irregular surface that way. So it goes jack, lock washer, jack plate, flat washer, nut. It's a little bit tricky to get on. Sort of the best way to do it, right, is just hold it by the jack. Just get your finger on it like that, and then use your thumb to feed it on, like a little thumb wheel. Get it started, and then you can put the socket on it and torque it up. Good. Maybe just a little bit further just to get it centered. Actually, it's sitting on a bit of a funny angle there. Might have bent the contact a little bit. That's alright. Just bend it back. Alright. Yep, looking good. Alright, so clean up those contacts. Clean the solder off them with the gun or the wick or whatever. Generally, if there's a lot of solder on there, use that thing, the solder extractor. If there's only a little bit there, you can use the wick. Try to get you out of the habit of using this one because it's $1,000. I'll just pop those spare jacks in your little toolkit. There you go, Morgan. What's going on, mate? He's here this morning, now he's back to Savo. Vice versa, because he's in Europe, I think. Apprentice. Yeah, maybe. One of these days. We're not getting organised. That's so. Struggling to clear the eyelets, eh? No, just having a go. Sweet as, bro. Sweet as.
secret amp technician on the call?
Lyle? Nah, he'd be asleep. I'm not sure what time it is over there. It's probably like midnight,
Oh.
something like that. He might be out, but he's got a life, babe. Unlike us.
Night.
Yeah.
Surprise, dragon.
Dragon.
Okay, are you okay with this one so far? I'm just gonna finish.
I'll come have a look. It is midnight in Memphis. Yeah, looking good. A little bit sparse, but you got more hooks. You need some more hooks.
Let's go figure out what else we have any more to put on here. So
Yep. I can restock on the Axis capos because we're running low on them.
have a look through their website and see what they've got.
Yeah. Oh, they've got so many different colors now.
Yeah, yeah.
They
But I
keep
mean, like
they're
other
keeping
things.
yeah they're keeping. Well, we've got those sound hole covers. Did you get them?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Did you want to put all them over there?
Yeah, I could actually. Just
Yeah.
To fill that. So I was just thinking, what do we have? Any? I put the polished stuff on the bottom, and then just.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got to clean these out and put them over there.
Yeah, I'll bring the
Vacuum.
vacuum tomorrow.
Okie dokie. The joys of running a shop, champions. Yep. So the reason it's not going up is because it's solidifying.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So you might find it's probably easier to get it in a better position. So it's all about holding the workpiece. So I'll just grab this clamp. Gonna throw it in that. Generally, you should be able to work on it like this, though. So I'll just sort of show you if you. Oh God, did the tip thing again. It can be tempting to hold this in a different way or whatever, but it just slows you down. So. It's all right. That's clear. This thing playing up. Oh, had a chunk in it. That's why. So see here, the eyelet is dry on one side, on the inside. It's got no solder on it, on either one. So whoever soldered it initially, because it is a used jack, which is what you're going to encounter, just sort of work a bit of solder into both faces. Just make sure it's wetted on both sides. It just guarantees the joint's going to be on both sides of the eyelet. Sometimes just the atmosphere can slightly oxidize the surface. This is an activated flux in this solder, so it's sort of, after you heat it up for a while, it does eventually eat through that stuff. And now we've got a whole bunch of solder there again, so go again. Didn't quite clear that hole in. Oh, that did it. And again. Sweet. All right. You can wire that one up. Just use the blue tack again.
Which one?
So, the sleeve, when you're looking at a plug, this is the shield, because that's connected to basically the chassis of the amp, and that's what carries the signal. So that's protected by the shield. If you look on the inside there, that coax we were talking about before, same deal here. That's the shield connected to the outside, and that's the tip, which carries the signal. So we want to do the same thing on that. So see, there's the sleeve contact and then there's the tip contact. So that springy thing goes against the tip. So if you plug in the plug, you can see it goes in and makes contact there. And then that one there makes contact with the shield.
Okay.
So that's going to be a black and that's going to be the white because that's connected. If you follow this pressed piece of metal in that sandwich there, that's bent up and then that's the contact for the tip. So that there's your black one, that there's your white one. All right. Man, there's so much corrosion on these frets. Such a nice base though. So what you want to do there is maybe unwrap a little bit more wire because it's got to sit like this way and these have to basically go around the contact. So maybe just unwind a bit more. Which one? So that's that one. You can run it through like that and turn it back over the top like we did on the other one. And same goes with this one. Oop. There we go. Just maybe sit it up right there. It's a bit easier to access, a bit easier to see what you're doing. So when you're doing someone else's guitar, you got to be super careful of the finish. So laying down like a piece of leather or something, a little bit of vinyl with the blue tack on it, just keeping everything off the finish is a good way to be safe. I've been muted the whole time I've been chatting. Thanks for telling me, guys. Yeah, anyway, at least he's learning something. You guys aren't. So, yeah, everything works. I was just explaining the difference with the pickups and the fact that they initially had a 3-way switch on the pickups. People would jam bits of business card and whatever in there to get the in-between sounds. And then they realized, well, why don't we just reverse wind, reverse the magnets on the middle pickup, and now you can have humbucking in the in-between positions. And that's the strats we know and love today. Because in the second and fourth position, you end up with a humbucker made up out of the 2 coils there. So everything works, all the tone controls and everything work as they should, so that's all good. But we've got a little bit of intermittency there on the switch. So what we'll do is clean those contacts. We'll use a little bit of cleaning solution, and we'll do the same to the pots. We'll give them a blast with compressed air too, and then we can button all this up. Happy that the electronics are in good nick. The only other thing to do, which we haven't done yet, is run a wire to the tremolo claw, which you said you don't have one of, eh? So I'll grab one of them out. Just disconnect that. Give them a bit of a clean. Get the air gun. That's good. All the pots worked out alright. I didn't have to replace any. They're not amazing quality, but they do the job. So I use this stuff, which is a cleaner lubricant. You often find contact cleaners on the market, and they'll just say contact cleaner, not lubricant. That's basically just alcohol in a can, so it washes all the grease and lubricant out of the pot. Now, from the factory, they come with grease pre-applied to them. If you keep using contact cleaner on it, it washes all the grease out, and then those contacts I showed you before, they just wear through like really quickly. So this is a contact cleaner and lubricant. You can get other brands. Everyone talks about this stuff, Deoxit. There's various different types. This one's Fader Lube, so you could use that for it's designed for conductive plastic, so kind of high-end pots that you find on like recording mixing consoles and stuff. It's about $80 a can. It's crazy. This stuff's about $6 a can, and I've never had an issue with it. I use it on everything. So, plus, the main reason I don't use this stuff is the stupid friggin' lid thing. It's just so overbuilt, and it's really thick. Like, that can't get into a pot. Whereas this one here, they come with a straight one like this, just like the WD-40 and whatever. It comes with a straight little hose. Shove that in the end. What I do here is I get a bit of bus wire, so a bit of copper wire, shove that down the end, and then heat it with the heat gun. I use a thicker one than that, but you get the idea. And then bend it, and because you've got the wire in the middle, it doesn't pinch it. It doesn't choke it off, and you can shape it to whatever shape you want using a heat gun. And every time you buy a can, it comes with a new one. You just hold on to the old one, and then you can make a collection of different shape ones or different length ones or whatever. But this is handy when you're doing an amp or something where you've got to get in around a chassis. And you can use a straight one there too. I just direct it right into the wafer. Just a quick squirt. Don't go crazy with it. Sometimes it gets an air bubble. You've got to go twice. Now on the switch contacts, I just barely touch it. And just get a little bit on between the contacts and the wiper. Guys just unload half a can in the guitar sometimes, and there's just stuff everywhere and it collects dust. And after I've done that, just give it a good cycle a few times. It helps get any oxidation off the contacts. What was with tapping the pole pieces? That was just to show what pickup was being picked up on each switch setting, just showing Luke that all the wiring was correct. Work the pots back and forth. We should find they're nice and quiet after that. Alright, let's see if that's addressed the crackling. Get a tiny bit of a crackle, but I think most of that's gone away. Certainly gone away on the pots, so that's good. Electronics A1. So now we'll just run that ground wire for the tremolo claw. Then we can put all the screws in and call it done. So I'll just grab a bit of that black wire. Now prep and tin the end of that, about 1/2 inch, about that much. We'll solder that to that pot and then we'll run it through the body and fix it off. Don't mind me, I'm just over here cleaning frets on this Music Man Stingray. Bit of a weapon base, this one. Does smell pretty musty though. It's been stored in a humid closet or something. And the frets are corroded as hell, so I'm just giving them a Scotch-Brite before I sand them with 1200 grit and polish them. Sweet as. Alright, I'll solder it onto along with that pickup wire, I reckon. How's it looking? Yep, that'll do. Maybe a touch more solder on there. What's the marijuana situation like down there? I don't know. Do I look like I know? I'm dumb enough how it is, let alone smoking drugs. Trying to make a living in the music industry. I can't be that smart.
What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that won't get you high. It'll just give you cancer. Rightio. So we'll run that into the bit strange that they put it there. Normally the hole's like there, or into that area. Yeah, there's nothing there. So yeah, just run it into here. We'll run it under the springs, under the springins. Feed that in there. Pull that tight-ish. Alright, we can fix all that off now. So I'll just get you some pickguard screws. We may have some of those screws look like the holes might be a bit fat, so see how you go. If the hole's too thick for them, they might spin a bit. It might be right. So just Phillips number 1. Just maybe get the corner ones in.
Yeah.
Go for it. I think yours has gone dead. Yeah, it has. I don't know why that went flat. I should have the same charge. Huh. It's weird. Too much power. They're going in alright?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Scotty. Damn, one of my SATA to IDE adapters gave up the ghost. What on earth are you using IDE for, Scotty? It's 2025, mate. That's 2006. Not even. That's 2004 technology. A lot of digital samplers and stuff still use SCSI. That's going back. Oh yeah, good idea, Scotty. So I just got taken to task by one of my viewers. When you're feeding in a screw, right, in the existing hole that you haven't tapped or that's already had a screw in it, if you put the screw in and you wind it backwards, you'll feel a sort of, probably not so much in wood, but in metal and plastic, you wind it backwards and then you'll feel a sort of clunk.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it falling into the old thread. In this case, I didn't feel that then, so don't put too much weight into that, but it just means if there is a thread in the hole, the screw thread will align with it. So particularly when you're doing stuff like keyboards and whatever with plastic, they've got a real coarse thread to them, and if you don't get it aligned properly, you can strip or split the screw post and cause all sorts of damage. Yeah, I didn't feel it then when I did it, so I think it's either slightly different screw thread or just the timbers swollen back out a bit. But yeah, generally that's when you're doing anything that's threaded, that's a good idea to do that so you don't cross thread it, because that's a nightmare. Brad, you've changed, looking much younger. You know, I went to Turkey for the hair transplants, bro. Best to worst, which guitars are designed to work on the electronics? Best, pretty much any, yes, Strat, Telly's, easy as. Gibos are a bit more of a pain because you can't remove the pick guard. I guess the next worst is like, yeah, hollow bodies where you got to work on the loom and then try and feed it in through the F hole or the pickup hole in some versions. The next worst is probably acoustics, because the preamps always fail because they're cheap as shit, even if they're expensive to buy. They're made out of cheap, crappy components and often not designed very well, and you got to repair them because they fail, and often they don't sell you replacements, or the replacements are a slightly different size to the original on purpose, I think, so you have to buy the next guitar. And then the worst of all is probably like the Music Man Majesty, the John Petrucci signature, because it's got like a computer in it. Very unnecessarily. It's one of the most complex inbuilt circuits I know of in a production guitar. There's all quirky concept guitars that have all sorts of MIDI and all sorts of random stuff in it. So anything where it's super complex or proprietary parts is painful, because you want to try and help the customer out where you can, but you just can't because the manufacturer doesn't want you to. It makes you wonder what their motives are there. Like, eventually word gets out that they've got an unserviceable instrument, but people still seem to buy them for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, so Scotty is giving some good points there. Basically, when I'm using a screwdriver, you think about, say you're working on an $8,000 guitar, right? If you slip, you've just put a dent in it.
Yeah.
What do you do? So I constantly hold the screwdriver there and feed it all the torque with the right hand, but I've always got my hand on that section. So if you're holding it up there and you lose grip, you go to catch it, and what you end up doing by reflex is, when you go to catch it, you end up stabbing the guitar with it. So it's like when you go to drop your phone and you go to catch it, and you end up throwing it at the ground even harder, and you just completely smash it. If you just let it fall, it'd probably be all right, because the reflexes kick in and you mess it up. So just try that on these when you fire in the jack plate screws. I wonder if I think I've got a lever for that. Have you got one for that, or?
Like
Yeah, the switch tip. Okay, I think I got them. Because the American-made ones, the ones that I use the most, they've got a much wider blade. So I've ended up with heaps of the small ones. So I'm pretty keen to get rid of them. I think that one's a bit too small. Maybe, maybe not. Is that the one? No, it's too small. Just try another. That's the one. Bit of a different color, but it's all right. Sweet. All right, just pop those two in. And we'll flip. Yeah, just same. We'll flip her over and do the wire on the tremolo claw. Stainless screws aren't magnetic either, so you'll probably run across that at some point too. Very annoying in fiddly spaces. Yep, been there, done that, Scotty. You know the reason behind me buying this magnetic pickup tool there, legends? I was doing a valve job on my Honda VFR 750, which is a V4 motorcycle engine, and it's got the bucket valve lifters, and they've got little metal shims under them, and they're all gauged, and you get a set of them, and they've all got laser etched on them what thickness they are. And if your valve's got too much clearance, you put a larger one in, and if it's got not enough clearance, you put a smaller one in. So I was working away. I had to get the bike ready to ride to work the next morning, and just hear this horrible sound of the spacer falling down inside the crankcase of the engine, down through the valve train hole in the head casting. So I had to get a lift off my mate. I think I borrowed his car and went down and got this, and luckily I managed to fish out that shim all the way down the bottom of the sump, because in a car engine you can pop the bottom of the engine off usually on the sump and access anything, but you can't do that on a motorcycle. It's not removable. So yeah, that was bought in a fit of rage, that one. Alright, flip her over. Whoa, we've got way too much wire. That's alright, we'll put a bit of slack on that. That's actually sandwiched against that pickup, so I might back that pickup, or pick that pickup up a bit, so I can feed the excess of that wire back in. Now if we can give it a bit of slack, probably not that much, but we'll give it a bit of slack, so then if we do need to remove the pick guard, you don't have to undo that wire. Alright, I'll get you some screws for the trem claw. Have you got a back cover for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Do you need screws for that too?
Maybe. I think so.
Alright, I'll leave them out then. Oh, hiccups. Well, you won't be popping that on just yet anyway, because we need to do some more work. I'll just get you some screws. Oh, hiccups. Some screws for that claw.
My music teacher, like at school,
Yep.
because I do like the electric thing, she said I can fix some of the guitars off.
Yeah, cool.
Because they're horrible.
Well, there goes my job. Already stealing work from me. Bloody hell. Yeah, you often find you probably need to replace some parts, some pots, that kind of thing. We've got all that stuff in stock, so.
I have given her your business card.
Okay, cool. Just check that that's the right gauge. Okay, those holes are a bit reamed out. We'll see how they go, but we might have to drill them out and put plugs in. And I think that claw's a little bit too close. Yeah, he is missing a neck screw there. That's well spotted. And that's stripped. Is that why it's not in there?
No, I just...
Oh, okay. You must have some fatter screws in.
Yeah, I think so. doesn't let me use his Dremel because he uses it for rocks.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's in the Lavalier.
So he's like made a skull with out of a rock onto it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Nice. Does he ever do like bone carving and stuff as well, or no?
Just rocks.
Fair enough.
He does have bones though.
Yeah.
He has like a koala skull
Oh, really?
and shark tooth or crocodile tooth.
No, yeah.
He's got snake skin.
Cleaning out my my aunt's shed I was telling you about.
Yeah.
I came across this bloody, I don't know, I think it's possum skull or something. She had it like nailed to the wall. Bush people are different, man. They're weird. Alright, so you can see here we've got a little tab that's lifted. And that purpose of that is so you don't have to heat up the whole thing. Because it's got a little tab like that, it can get heated up by itself. You don't have to heat up the whole plate. So the solder's more likely to stick to it. You can, sometimes in a pinch, you can solder up here, like just onto an edge.
Yeah.
You might find the solder might not take there. Sometimes you've got to scratch it depending on the plating. If you've got a high output iron, I can feel the soldering iron trying to stick to that actually, so it's barely hot enough. But if we solder to this little tab down here, see that? It wets to it pretty well. How does it go from Freddie King to this?
It's you on YouTube, mate.
No, well, YouTube's retarded. It forces you to listen to shit you don't want to listen to. Like, how do you go from Freddie King to whatever the fuck this is?
Maybe he has King in his name.
Whatever it is, it's stupid. Alright, there we go. So we're connected there, so that's it. That's us, bro. We'll, I'll dig out a pair of... I think I might have another set of them floating around somewhere, so I'll dig out a set of them, the tuning machines, because the one of them in that pack was broken, but I might also just take a photo of that. Oh yeah, that's that open. Yep. What? Okay. Do you want to take the ute and get the van while you're at it? Just got the keys on the bench here. Hang on. On the bench? No, in the bag. Regen. What is regen? Freddie King regen. Okay, so it's a different Freddie King, and YouTube's an idiot. You'd think it would know that it's a different artist, though, eh? Like, did you find the keys? No. There you go. You don't need my keys.
Well, I need handpiece, so
We'll just
my
take
car
yours.
keys.
Yeah, but I've got.
Have you got a car key on there?
Yeah, I got my keys. Yep. All good. Yeah, because Jason's got the van key. Yeah, of course.
Just the van key?
Jason's. Yeah, he's got just that key. Yeah. All right. Sweet as. So, what have we got to do? We've got to put in some springs. We've got to.
Yeah, I got the springs at home.
Yep, and the bridge
It's in my bag.
in your bag. This bag? Oh yeah, there it is. Cool. So is that the one that came off it?
The metal bit, yeah.
Yep. I'll just check
Actually,
that
might
everything.
not be.
Just
Might
check
be
that
from-
everything lines up.
I think it's from Dad's one.
Okay.
Wait, no,
So-
that's from that one.
So straight away, that's gonna bind up on here. So the bridge isn't compatible. So what we'll have to do is just have that in basically a locked position like that. You won't be able to use a tremolo.
Okay.
Because see that, it doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
Because the cutout should be larger in this area. We could route that bigger, but yeah, it's a bit of work.
Yeah.
I'd probably just run it without the tram. So what we'll do is we'll put some screws in there, put them in just until it tries to lift it, and then back them off a bit, and we'll put 5 springs in the back, just so it's bottomed out against the body. We call that decked,
Yeah,
a decked tram.
and then this floating.
Yeah, floating and decked. So we'll just basically won't have a trim on this, essentially, unless we modify the cutout. That's always the thing when you're using third-party bits and pieces. If you're just doing Fender stuff, they've kind of standardised all the dimensions, so you're pretty safe there. Putting together what they call parts casters, because everything's sort of compatible-ish. Sometimes you've got to modify the neck joints, that kind of thing, but everything generally works together, or you can find stuff that does. But yeah, as soon as you're talking third-party manufacturers, you sort of, it's a bit of a gamble to see what works with what. So, but you know, it'll still work as a hardtail with the deck trim, and still be perfectly playable. Yeah, on the other strap, yeah, the other strap's perfectly fine. So yeah, grab that screw. We'll just check that screw's not stripped, because that other screw that I put in felt like it was.
I don't have that screw.
You don't have this one? Okay, right. Let's have a look at what I've got. I might just remove that neck joint. We might have to plug and re-drill some stuff. I'll just have a look at what the screw holes look like. Alright, they're pretty massive screw holes, so I think, yeah, we'll probably have to plug and re-drill them. Because I can't even see thread in that one. I think that's stripped out. Oh, they're just really chunky. Yeah, it's fatter than your average neck screws. What are they at? $5mm. Yeah, $4mm. Yeah, I'll have to have a dig around, see if I can find anything that fat and that long. What is it? 45 overall, 5mm overall. Oh, there's a big fat one. 45. Did I just put the calipers down? Oh. See how good I am at hiding things from myself? 5mm. 5mm is chungus, isn't it, Scotty? 45, there we go. Boom! Problem solved. We may have to shim that neck, but we'll find out once we string it up. Yeah, basically slightly changing the angle of the neck by putting a small shim on one end. It depends where we land with the saddle adjustment. That stuff we'll do during the setup. We'll just get everything structurally sound first. That's the big bastard screw. Yeah, they're holding on. I think it just looked a bit rained out. Sweet. It's making the veins in my forehead poke out when I tighten it, so I know it's good.
I think I remember this guitar being in like his shed.
Yeah, yeah.
I always walk past it because like I have a friend next door, so I'm always over there.
Yeah, cool.
And I remember walking past it and like wanting to play it and stuff.
Yep.
And then I found it in the skip bin. So
I found it in the skip bin. Oh, well, it's fair game then, eh?
yeah.
If it ends up in the skip, it's yours. That's the rules of the road.
So I immediately took it. For it.
Good man.
I took the guitar and he's like, oh, it doesn't work.
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, and then I got it working.
Yeah, good man.
I just plugged it in.
It worked straight away.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I told him it worked.
Scotty! There you go, mate. We've got the guitarist from the Screaming Jets watching right now. Yeah. SK man. Scotty, meet Luke. You have to rewind to know what's going on, but he's having a go on the bench. And he just wired up this guitar. Took 2.5 hours. I'd like to see that down to 20 minutes, but we'll work on it. What are you doing this weekend, Scotty? You got gigs on, or you out fishing? He's a big flathead fisherman.
my dad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember you saying that. Love a good flatty. There you go. He's just giving you the horns. Woo! Oh, hang on. There's the camera. I don't even know where my camera is. Bloody hell.
I didn't realise you had two.
Yeah, so I've got this one up here. That's shooting downwards. And then I've got this one over here, which is getting our face. I used to have that one up there, but it was hopeless at focusing. I don't know if it just didn't like the look of my face, but every time I moved, it didn't focus anymore. So I ended up getting the Sony instead. Well, actually, what happened was I had a Panasonic G85, and I took it camping on the last camping trip. And my brother in that ute that Michelle just took, he decided to take it for a little swim in the river and went a bit too deep. And then
I think I remember that.
yeah, the camera got soaked and flooded. So I was looking at getting the same one again. They were like $600, $700, $800. I'm thinking, well, do I just get the same one with the same problems again, or do I get an upgrade? And then my mate Lyle and Six from Dr. Gear, they're both Sony connoisseurs, so they talked me into getting a Sony. And at first I didn't like it because the menu's different and stuff, but that's just me being a grumpy, stuck in my ways old man. And eventually got used to it, and it's good. It's really nice for photography too. I swore to myself I'd never take it out and just leave it in the workshop so it doesn't get destroyed. But of course I've lied to myself. I've taken it out multiple times now. So
I think my sister has a Sony.
yeah, cool. Was a ZV or something, or just compact? Yeah, right. Come on, man, get into it. All right, I've got the screws in there. So I'll dig out that set of tuners. We've got springs. Actually, we can put the springs in now. Bugger it, why not? I've got some floating around over here, I thought. Yep. One, two, three, four, five. Let's chuck all five in. I just get the pliers like that and try to squeeze it as hard as you can, because if it goes flying you might damage your finish, and worse, it looks like maybe that's what happened here. If your pliers slip off, you can scratch. So I try to just use my thumb to push the pliers, just everything nice and controlled. Never have to push anything real hard, because that's when you slip and you scratch stuff. And if you have to force something, you've got to stop and reassess what you're doing and think harder about a better way, more efficient way to do it, essentially. You can see there the bridge block's probably not totally compatible with this body, but we're not using the trim anyway, so it's hard against the body. All good. So that'd be rock solid tuning wise now.
Yeah.
Once we get those tuning machines. So we're almost there.
And my other guitar is not staying tuned.
No? Yeah, right. That could be a whole bunch of stuff. So maybe one day we'll figure out why that's happening. It'd be a good little investigation. All right, we're done, brother. You want to pack up and do you remember where all those tools go? Because I don't. Just clear the guitar off first, because it's a good habit to be in. Just get the guitar off the bench, so when you're reaching over it, every time you reach over the guitar, there's potential for accidentally bumping or dropping something on it. So yeah, utmost importance is making sure you don't damage the guitar.
Yeah.
So even things like, say I want this drill right over here.
Yeah.
If I pick that up and bring it across here, one of these might fall out and damage the damage the finish, you know. So just as a habit, and I don't even think about it now, if I pick up a tool, I pick up the drill and I go around the guitar like that. And if I want to put it on the bench, I go around the guitar like that. And eventually that becomes second nature. But only after you fuck something up, essentially. Because that's the only way you learn. You think you can take shortcuts, and every time you do, the universe screws you over. So you stop taking shortcuts eventually. Or only the right shortcuts, I should say. Beauty. You know it, Scotty. Good habits to learn, yeah. But it's really hard to remember those habits early on until you make those mistakes, Scotty, and that's where they say experience is most important. He's not under an apprenticeship, Scotty. We're just having a bit of a trial at the moment. There's no official apprenticeship in this trade, which is what kind of sucks, because there's no official trade. I wish there was one. Maybe that should be my life's work, making luthiery a trade. I don't know. I'm sure other people have tried and failed. Wouldn't even call it luthiery because I'm not building guitars, but you know my thoughts on that. I love Panasonic cameras. So do I. I do love them, even their shortcomings. Yet when you mess up someone's $15,000 PRS, you learn real quick. Yeah, I mean I've got insurance for that kind of thing, but it could end your career, basically, stuff like that. We run on a pretty tight margin in this industry, so a big mistake on an expensive guitar could mean the end of your career, pretty much. All right, I think we've got everything. I'll finish. Oh, hiccup again. I'm waiting for it. There it is. All right, mate. Well, you piss off and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll dig out those tuners. If I don't have any, I'll just get some on order, but they might be a couple of weeks away because they're coming from Melbourne, and I don't.
4.
Oh yeah.
And they work fine.
Yeah. What, 4 individual keys?
4 like tuning picks.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just missing 2.
Okay.
'Cause I was fixing that.
Are they the originals off it?
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't think I got any in that style. Let me dig through the parts on Tuesday and I'll get back to you. All right, we'll see what I got. That tuning, or that machine head, see they're pretty small holes. If we want to go to the modern style, we're going to have to ream them out, but we can do that. That's all right. Yeah. Anyway, shoot me a photo of the ones you got, maybe, just on SMS, and I'll see if I've got any floating around similar. I don't really want to have multiple different types on there. It'd be good to have them all the same, you know, even if it is a basher. Yeah. No worries, man. Enjoy. You handle it well, man.
Can I get back of the strings?
Yeah, what do you want?
Listen.
Just, what, 1046?
Yeah.
Yeah, just grab a couple of bulk ones here. Just got to be real careful that you've got them in the right order, because the two thinnest ones, it can be hard to tell them apart. But the way to tell, it's hard to tell just looking at the wire, right? But have a look at the wound bit. You can see that one's much finer and that one's coarser. See that?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the 10s. 10 to 13. And then you got the 17, which again, much coarser.
Alright.
So yeah, it's just a bit easier to tell when you look at the windings, when you look at the twisted end bit. I don't know what it's called. The twisted end bit, let's just call it that. So there, Alexa OptiWeb. All yours. No worries, man.
On this when it's ready.
Sorry?
Put them
Yeah, stick them on there, yeah. Sweet as. Once you get the frets. Those frets, like I say, they're pretty well seated, so I think you should be good with them. Once we do a fret hone. And maybe a new nut. Might practice doing a new bone nut for that as well. Why not? It's took us 2.5 hours to rewire it. Probably take us 3 hours to make a nut. That's right. That's how it is. No worries. Well, yeah. Enjoy your weekend, dude. Talk to you next week. Say bye. Everyone say bye, Luke. See ya. There you go, champions. Now you met him. Tens of manly strings. Oh, come on, they're standard, mate. Is it Luke's guitar? Yeah, he pulled it out of a skip bin. They were going to throw it out. So now he's using it as a practice guitar to hone his skills on wiring and fretwork. So he's done a few practice runs at a fret hone on it. Well, fret hone, crown, polish, you know, fret leveling. He got a straight edge and used the emery cloth just like I do. And I've got a new set of crowning files on the way because mine are starting to get a bit long in the tooth. They still work fine, but it just takes a bit longer than I'd like. So I'm going to... I'm just going to get the new one, put it in my toolkit and give him the old ones because they're pretty expensive. So that way he's got something to practice with. So that'll be good. Yeah, I don't know what the long-term goal's going to be. It'd be good to have him doing setups and stuff. And yeah, basic service work on instruments. And who knows, one day maybe into the electronics. We'll see how he goes. He seems super keen. So, yeah. I think he's starting to get an eye on the solder joints and when it's a good one, when it's a not great one. Because once you've seen a few good solder joints and then you see a bad one, it's pretty easy to tell the difference just looking at them. There's nice, smooth, shiny fillet, and then there's crusty, cocky shit on a fence post. So yeah, just being able to visually tell the difference between a good and bad solder joint is 90% of the fight. But yeah, I think he did well on that rewire job. I'd like to see him do it from scratch again, just to keep it fresh, man. I'm a bit like that with PCB design. If you don't keep doing it, it really takes you a good while to get your chops back up. It's a bit like playing guitar, you know. Like if I haven't played for a while, man, you just feel like you're wearing a full body condom trying to play guitar. Like it's like one of those dreams where you're trying to punch underwater. That's what it feels like. Yeah, he has patience. He needs to heat it up for another half second. A little timid, but yeah, he'll get the hang of it, eh? I know Scotty was saying, you know, should tell him this, that, and this, but I'm not the best teacher. I'm trying, but I also don't want to overwhelm them with too much info at once. Like, there's a few things I saw him do, but if you overwhelm them with too many concepts, there's only so much you can pack in at one time, is what I'm saying. So, just getting his hands around, I just wanted to get his hands around a decent soldering iron, some good solder, just to get a feel for what it feels like when you are using the proper gear, because he's been using some not so great gear. So we'll sort that out. We'll get him an FX 888D Hakko. Nothing wrong with them. They're fantastic, and you can get them for under $200. And who knows, I might give him my one and upgrade to an FX951. Might be a good excuse. Wouldn't mind the directly heated tip. That'd be nice. And for guitar stuff, a 888D's beautiful. You did great, mate. Wish I had someone to teach me like you. Thanks, Scotty. I'm still learning. Learning how to teach. Self-teaching how to teach it's a big, I don't know, it's turtles all the way down. Hands-on is the best, absolutely. You need to get a feel for these things. It's a bit like welding. To get a welder to show your hands-on how to do it is worth, 6 months of learning the theory on how to do it, Yeah, I often think back, Scotty, as to how I'd feel if I was given these projects. Even in my 20s and 30s, when I was sitting at a drafting bench, drafting office after office of fucking document storage cabinets, and then thinking what it would be like to be in an electronics lab, building a preamp or something. Your heart skips a beat, a bit, almost, And that I still feel a bit like that when I start getting towards the end of an amp build project or something like that. You get super excited when the parts turn up. You're like, ooh, I can do that. I can install those transformers now. I can give it a test run, and your heart skips a beat for a second because you get so excited. And I still feel that when I'm doing a big project. People forget that we're all show-me's and book learning is more for reference and not the be-all, end-all. Yeah. Look, knowing the basic concepts behind this stuff has helped a lot, as I've learned over the years. I've still got a lot to learn, man. Like, I'm by no means a authority on anything to do with electronics theory. But having the books there to fill in my suspicions and cross the I's and dot the T's, which is normally how it happens. Again, I've got to move that light. It looks like I'm wearing a fez. But yeah, getting your hands dirty is 90% of it, eh? So what I would like to do, had Dad, absolutely, Dad teaching me stuff. Again, Dad would often say, "Go read the fucking book," or RTFB was his catchphrase, because he wanted me to do the groundwork to understand the concepts, because that's the way he learned, because he learned in the RAF, and that's the way they taught it. Whereas different people learn different ways, and he'd always say, "You're getting a bee under your bonnet," because I'd have these big concepts and I didn't know how to get there, and I'd get frustrated because I didn't know the basics. And he was trying to teach me that I've got to understand the basics before I run it like a bull at a gate, And I've ultimately found a balance between the two, It can be extremely hard to read these massively, what's the word? Not novel, not esoteric. I need a thesaurus again. These concepts, these theoretical concepts, it can be really hard to abstract concepts without any hands-on experience. But then when you're actually doing stuff and things like grounding, you start to realize the theory's coming back into play, and now I'm showing the results of the theory by the finished product. Brad, any new music recommendations? Ooh, yes. God, the name escapes me. Oh, not. God damn it! I can picture their face. Not the OCs, although they're awesome as well. The Bobby Lees. Check out the Bobby Lees new stuff. They had a little bit of a hiatus for some reason. I'm not sure why, or if they were just touring. But the Bobby Lees are coming back with some good shit. I really like the cut of their jib. The really in-your-face, proper punk shit. That attitude that almost felt like it went away for a while. The Bobby Lees, they're awesome. I love punk with female singers too. I just love the fuck you attitude. I reckon it's awesome. So there's Bobby Lee's new stuff. Just trying to think. I've been a bit out of the loop because I've been so busy with work. But I have been listening a lot to the Henry Rollins, I guess it's a podcast, the radio show on KCRW. Hopefully that doesn't get cut with all the public broadcasting cuts over there, because that'd be a terrible thing to lose. I heard somewhere that Dax Riggs is doing a new album because he's been touring with Acid Bath. But apparently, I don't know how the guy finds any time, but apparently he's been working on some new solo stuff, so that's awesome. Gonna try pre-filing the frets before installing them like you do, Brad. It depends on the application, Lou. So the main reason I do that is because I want an accurate overhang to the undercut of the tang. But if you're doing it with a visible tang from the end, it's probably easy to just flush cut and then flush with the neck. But then you've got scoring the finish issues. You can damage the finish. So it's more suited to like new guitar construction, which is probably why most of the factories do it that way, because they can just sand the edge of the fretboard and flush everything up. But if that timber moves at all, you're going to blister your ends of your frets, which is what's been happening to all the new Fenders, even the US ones. The gloss thick lacquer on the neck, there ends up a bubble under every fret end because the timber shrinks because it's not seasoned properly, or maybe humidity, regional humidity differences. And then the lacquer forms a bubble under the end of each fret tang, and eventually that chips off, and you end up with a chip of lacquer at the end of every fret. So undercutting the fret, filling it with a bit of putty, and then touching up the lacquer, in my experience, works a lot better. And you're only flushing off the crown of the fret, not the tang, not the tang. New Coroner album. They got a new album. I haven't got into Sleep Token yet. I'm not really aware of the whole concept of it. I want to find out about it. They were really hyped for a while, and I guess it's the contrarian in me. Anything that's massively hyped, I tend to rebel against a bit or just disregard. I should probably stop doing that. I'll do the last bit of flush cut, but I'll take the meat off instead of raw dogging it with a file. When you're hitting it hard with a coarse file, it tends to put a big burr on it, which can sometimes curl back around to get stuck in the finish and bite into the finish. Not only that, but you're actually putting a fair bit of heat into that fret. And if you've used glue, you could loosen that glue joint, or you could blister the lacquer a bit. You put a little bit of heat into it when buffing, but you move up and down the fret to try and not do it in a localized spot. But when you're filing just the end of the fret, you actually, if you put your hands on the fret after you've finished filing it, they're surprisingly hot, like almost too hot to leave your hand on it. So you want to try and avoid that too. It's suddenly turned into a Q&A episode. Not that I know what I'm talking about, but yeah, I think Luke handled live streaming to the worldwide audience while learning how to solder pretty well. I wanted to sort of on purposely put him under a bit of pressure and see how he reacted, and I think he handled it very well. Stainless steel is so hard. Yeah. In the scheme of things, not really, but yeah, you want diamond tools for stainless, man. You don't want to be using like steel burr crowning files or anything with stainless, because you'd be there all friggin' day. So everything diamond, and just put a new piece of emery cloth on your fret hone before going for it. Don't try and use the old shit. So on this one, I've got, this is my this is my just basic hone, straight edge, precision ground on the inside there. It's just a bit of RHS, rectangular hollow section, galvanized steel, mild steel, and they've put it on a surface grinder and got two nice faces there. So with these, you've got to be careful because obviously it's flat. You're not radiusing it at the same time, so you need to go back with the radius gauges and just look at the fretboard surface and check the fret height. Mark your frets with permanent texture before honing them so you know where you're at. Be sure to adjust your truss rod to get the neck as straight as possible if you're not using a neck jig. Support the neck evenly across its lengths as best you can. To things like lead shot bags or sandbags underneath can work well. StewMac sells them for this purpose. Ideally, I'd like to have those aluminium sanding beams, but they're like, what, $300 each? You have to pay $2,000 to get all the common sizes. I'll do it one day, but then there's different lengths for doing compound radiuses, so you're up for another $2,000 or $1,000 or whatever. So all I have is old files. I'll be here all day. Yeah, you might want to find a Hosco diamond file, diamond crowning file there, Lou. You know, if you just want one file for crowning, probably get the StewMac. I don't know what it's worth, but the original Z file, that one there, that's the part number, S5082. Just get you one of them, and it's got an offset V. If you have a look close, I wonder if we can do it with Penny Boy. So you can see there's a sharp angle on this side and a more shallow angle on that side, and it's mirror on the other side. So with that, you swap back and forth, and eventually you end up, as well as wiggling it side to side a bit as you go, you end up getting a nice crown top face, and that's pretty versatile because you can use it on any gauge fret, any material, and that's diamond there. The safe edge one I've found good for special purposes, like maybe dressing the ends of the frets, that kind of thing, but I've generally found that not to be that useful. The centered one is good for very small fret wire, things like mandolin or ukulele. That's just a V shape, and that's also good if you want to create like a pyramid shape to the frets, because you've just got that hard V shape there, and then you can just slightly round over the top of the fret afterwards. StewMac tools are stupidly too expensive for what they are, and they're often made in Taiwan. Yeah, but you know, Scotty, if you're going off per job ratios, like I've probably done 1,000 guitar necks with these, so per guitar it's not a very big outlay. And then these things, like no one else makes them like that, man. So for stainless tang cutting, there's really no alternative. They've got the market cornered, and that's why they charge what they can. Well, that's why they can charge what they do, is what I mean. For the straight edge, there are probably better options out there, but I've got this from the joinery industry, Veritas, made in Canada. Made in Canada, eh? That's just a carbon steel straight edge, precision ground, it's a quarter-inch thick, so you don't get any flex. You can see all the fret marks on there from lining it up. It's amazing. You'll probably sit it in the same spot almost every time. So yeah, so that's really good for just getting a gauge of what you need to do to the neck. These rulers are really no good for that because it's hard to keep them straight. You probably could, I don't know, glue or tape a bit of something to the side of it, but you just end up with a haywire fucking contraption. Then you just get a good straight edge and you're good. These are really good from Hosco, since we're on the tool tip. They're the Hosco TL-FC28S, I think is the original part number. I'm not sure if that's a Hosco part number because they're made by a third party, and that third party is Kiba, and I believe they're made in Japan. So I think this is the part number for the original tool, and then Hosco took that original tool, modified the grind, and then sold it as their own part. These are really good for end nipping stainless steel, where the traditional StewMac ones just absolutely get destroyed. These are great for nickel. Give a nice clean, very, very square end cut, but you try and cut stainless with them. Even though they say on the website they're good for stainless, they're not. I've destroyed multiple sets of them trying to use them on stainless, even though they said they were capable until I became aware of these, or they came out. I'm not sure when they were released. But the luthier industry, there's constant innovation happening, and I find it amazing back in the day that guys got anything done. Like you look at how many tools we've got at our disposal now, specialised, modified stuff to make it work. When I guess back in the day, the guys just had to make all that themselves, and they sort of just kept it under their hat. But for sanding the end, fret ends, I've got these diamond hones. They're sort of marketed for sharpening chisels, but I like a water stone for that. Or just the oil stone to get it started, but even the oil stone can heat up the cutting edge a bit. In a pinch, these are good to have in the toolbox. In a pinch, you can get a nice razor edge on them. A little bit of metho or, pardon me, water on there, and it can just keep the blade nice and cool. But they're also good for dressing the ends of the frets, taking the last like couple of thou of an inch off just to get everything perfectly not mirror polished, but perfectly in line and true. And it's short enough that if there are any slight irregularities to the neck, this will sort of follow them rather than having to have a, you know, excavate part of the edge of the fretboard in one spot and then not even touch it in another. But getting, say you do overhang them by too much, this is just a brutal file for removing large amounts of material in a short amount of time. Not even sure where I got that. Probably Australian Luthier supplies back when I used to buy stuff off them. I think they basically just order from other places and whack a margin on, so when you find out where they order from, you just order from there. Anyway, I might piss off, champions. So thanks for joining us twice today, for those that made it. I'm a lot cheerier once I have a coffee in the morning, so please disregard my previous stream. I was a bit grumpy. I don't think I was too bad, but just going off at millionaires as always. So have a good weekend on what's left of it. Friends of Rom, represent. I miss my lung. I love their artwork. I'm 61 years old and have 30 guitars. I don't need stainless frets to be dead before they wear out. Yeah, well, some people just have one guitar, so I guess in that case stainless makes a lot of sense. But yeah, if you can spread the wear out over 30 guitars, that's ideal. Have a good one, coach. Have a good beer or scotch. Yeah, I've only got average beer at home. Maybe I'll get something on the way back. Is Lyle on today? I'm not sure. Has he put up a link? Let's have a look. I haven't talked to him about that, but if he does one, I might do one after. I've got to catch up here so bad. Or maybe I'll just get to work and not stream at all. How about that? That's probably a better idea. Where is he? If he hasn't posted in a while, he ends up right at the bottom of my subscriber list. So I dare say he hasn't put anything up yet. Live chat. No, he hasn't put anything up yet, but he might do it just before. There has been some discourse between me and my colleagues about when to put up a post or when to schedule a live stream, because some seem to think if you schedule it a bit closer to the date, the algo picks it up a bit more. I don't think it's that cut and dried. I think it's probably pretty fucking random, and I think the algo just prefers you if you give them money. It's probably the biggest factor. Like everything. I went searching for a set of strings that I sell on Google. Now, I have the lowest price in pretty much Australia, I think. Because I jumped on and had a look. Why am I yellow? I jumped on Google and set it to shopping and had a look to see if my listing even came up, and it didn't. Even though they're in stock, they're cheaper. If you select that set of strings and go to Google Shopping and select sort by price, my price was $42.95, the nearest was $44.95, and my listing didn't even turn up. The cheapest was $44.95, so it's actively dismissing my listing, even though I'm cheaper than everyone else and I have an e-commerce platform that's internationally recognized. So it goes to show, champions, Google will not give you the cheapest result. They'll only give you the result of the person who paid them the most. So it pays to do a bit more digging than just Google, because it's fucking useless in this day and age. So there you go. Brad, have you had a chelada? Do you mean a michelada? A chelada? Is that a drink? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I haven't had one. Whatever it is. Google does suck, Scotty. So go to my website instead if you want something, although I can't ship to the States at the moment. However, I hear that there was a vote in the Senate. I didn't know you still had a Senate, but anyway. Apparently there's some opposition to 100 countries' tariffs. So we could get the tariffs to be reversed, and all the admin bullshit and extra admin costs and everything associated with shipping a package to the US. Maybe that might get reversed at some point, but either way, I'm not going to fucking hold my breath. If anything changes, champions, and the situation gets better, I will make it very clear on all social media platforms, and you can start to order from my site again. You'll be eligible as US mainlanders. Hopefully that happens, but as I say, I'm not holding my breath. Anyway, champions, I'm going to go... What will I get? I might get a... I've got Coopers at home. I'll just go Coopers. Just an old Westie. A Westie hipster. Coopers is perfect for that. Anyway, take it easy, legends. Have a good one. I'll talk to you on the flip side at some point between now and some other point. Gotta love the specificity. Oh, hang on, Brad, can you link me that FB group again for electronics? Are you talking solid state electronics or valve electronics, Scotty? I probably can't link it to you at the moment because I haven't got window up. And I think Facebook puts all sorts of random shit in the URL that's related to your account. Oh, I've got messages. Are you talking about solid state of mind there, Scotty? Mind with the question. Yeah. Just look up solid state of mind. You'll find it. It's a private group, but it's publicly searchable. There you go. All right, legends. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for keeping me company, and thanks for welcoming Luke. Hopefully we can keep it going and ruin his life by making him try and make a living off the music industry. I kind of feel that twinge in the back of my head going, do I tell him to go get into law? No, AI will fuck that. Do I tell him to go get into coding? No, AI will fuck that too. Do I tell him to be a plumber? Yeah, AI can't dig shit out of your drain for $300 an hour. Yeah, go be a plumber. Anyway, before I get cynical, have a good weekend, legends. See you on the next one.